What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the You Know Ball podcast. I am your host, Trill Bro Dude. And Sam, we are coming off a weekend of the Eagles going to 2-0, your Patriots going 0-2. You were dropping some fire takes on the timeline about Mac Jones. How you feeling today on this Monday morning?
I mean, I feel great. This is as I've said, man on the bus looking at the mountainside versus man on the bus looking out the window at the beauty and splendor of the world. Like, my team is dog shit and we lose every game. However, Patriots fans are also miserable. So
Yes.
the
Win-win.
yeah, God's worst creatures, Patriots fans. The Uruk-hai of sports fans. So
Well, don't worry. The Patriots will be getting Caleb Williams in the next draft, and then Bill Belichick can ride off into the sunset when he finally wins 30-something more games in 5 years, 6 years.
I'll tell you right now what's going to happen. The Patriots are there's going to be some good quarterback who's going to slide, like, because they're not going to be like actually last to like
Sure,
enough to
there
get
are some
Caleb
really,
Williams.
really bad teams.
Yeah, like the Panthers are going to get Caleb Williams or whatever. Whoever takes him, the Pats are going to have that guy available, and Bill Belichick is going to trade back for like some dog shit left tackle who's hurt all the time and can't play. So yeah, Bill Belichick needs to go to the glue factory, folks. It's Jover.
Yeah, he might be
He's
washed.
he still needs like 18 wins to get Shula, by the way,
I thought someone said it was 30.
or even more. Yeah, I was gonna say like
Yeah.
he's not gonna do it, man.
I was gonna say it's gonna take him until 2029, like with the way that the Patriots
It's
are
not
playing.
happening.
Yeah.
It's not
Well,
happening.
you do have the advantage of the extra game because obviously, and also didn't Shula coach during an era when they only had 14 games, so you have the advantage of 3 more games per season, but it's going to take some time, clearly, because you guys also have played 2 of the best teams in the NFL. Although Eagles fans right now are acting like we're 0-2. That's what they love to do. They love to act like the team actually hasn't won a game. They're
I
actually
get
2-0,
that,
and
though.
so are the Dolphins.
Yeah, no, I get that too, because like there are times like when your team is like looks underwhelming and like you barely hang on against the Mac Jones Patriots, but our defense is very good. Like the Patriots defense is very good. So
Yeah.
take what you will from that.
Yeah, Christian Gonzalez is great. He's looked awesome in his first 2 games.
Yeah. So I'm excited. Yeah. Another great year for being a Patriots fan. I do kind of like how dog shit the Pats are. The only thing about this game,
Another great year. It's been 3 years.
another great year. The other thing, the only thing about this is when we inevitably just finally euthanize the Heat and exercise the demons in the playoffs. Some Miami fan is going to tweet at me, Tua owns you. And I don't care, man.
5-0.
Yeah, I was going to say I really don't care. You're bringing football up into this, so don't get it twisted.
Well, we still have no news. I saw Mark Spears say that there's a mystery team in the Eastern Conference that's getting involved in the Damian Lillard talk, but we still have no news. So
it's the Raptors.
it's not it's
The Raptors.
he saw the tweet from the NBA trade rumors account that said that Tyler Hero was going to go to the Hornets, and then he decided to throw that rumor out there. There's no team. It's fake. Damian Lillard will be a Portland Trailblazer for the rest of his career.
He's going to the Raptors, and then when Giannis demands out because he was on Serge Ibaka's
Podcast 4 years ago.
once, and he said, "No, I don't want to play in Toronto." But
what he really meant,
what as Zach Lowe points out, he kind of really meant it though, So
it was opposite day when they recorded that podcast. Zach Lowe said. Psychotic, unhinged behavior.
I love it. God
Jesus
bless
Christ.
his heart.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's how I know it's time for the season to start. Like training camp, we're in training camp striking distance because
Yes.
everyone has full blown.
There's nothing to talk about, brain.
Yeah. I was gonna say there are brain worms going around on the timeline. I'm ready
Zach and Ramona can spend 20 minutes talking about one thing Giannis said on a podcast, and then reference another podcast he went on several years ago to connect the dots here and say what Giannis really meant.
We're also pretending that like winning time is a show that's worth anything when it's really not. So
Unbelievable you would do this to me
yeah, yeah.
after I told you that I know someone on the show. He played Kevin McHale too. Shout out to Andrew. But
He did great.
yeah, he was awesome. Everyone
He
else
was
on the show
awesome.
sucked.
Everybody else.
Also,
Yeah.
Adam McKay is a Philadelphia hero. I will not take the slander. Socialist hero. Anywho, we're talking about football again because that's what's going on Underdog right now. Use the promo code SLOP, that's SLOP, to get a $100 deposit match today. If you are a Patreon subscriber and you're watching this stream right now, they have for Monday Night Football, Kenny Pickett just needs to get half a yard. That's a special. And once again, even if Kenny Pickett doesn't get a yard, they'll probably honor it like they did with the Aaron Rodgers thing. So you just need to hit on one pick to win some money here if you're on Underdog today before Monday Night Football. And there's actually 2 games for Monday Night Football this week. So you can pick from 4 different teams here. Is there anything you're feeling strongly about? We have the Panthers Saints.
I'm telling everyone right now, I'm going to mirror whatever picks Trill makes right now. So that's me putting my
There you go.
That's how you know we believe in this. So
Well, I got my pick wrong because the Detroit Lions are actually fraudulent, and I'm off the bandwagon now because Jahmyr Gibbs was severely underused once again in the running game. And even when David Montgomery got hurt, they still ended up using Jahmyr Gibbs not that much. So he was really only used in the passing game. So my last pick did not hit, but I'm going to use for this one, Michael Thomas has been not healthy for the last few years, but he had a nice game last week in his bounce back game. First time that he's been healthy in quite some time. So let's go with higher receptions on Michael Thomas. 4 receptions. You put $10 on that on Underdog. You can win $30. So go on today. Use the promo code SLOP. There's a ton of stuff throughout football season, basketball season as well. You can do their best ball every single week. Sam has let me in the standings in our ball league for best ball. I'm very sad. I need Nick Chubb to go off tonight so that I am once again in the top 3 winning money in our league. But if you haven't done best ball before, it's a lot of fun, and go check that out today. So we are going to finish up here a podcast that I truly cannot believe we're going to do close to 4 hours on, which is the Bill Simmons, Ryen Russillo over under for the 2023-2024 NBA season. If you missed the first part, we recorded it on Friday. We released it on Saturday, and we did alphabetically. We did Atlanta through Memphis. So we're picking off where we left off from the last episode, and we're going to do the rest of the teams in the NBA. And then at the end of this segment, we can go back and we can just do a double check. Make sure we want to stand by our takes on the over-unders. Make sure that we also have Bill and Russillo's takes right as well. So, Sam, what team do we have up next on the website that doesn't pay us in alphabetical order for the over-unders?
So next up, we have fan favorite of the podcast. We love them, folks. Our beautiful, beautiful Miami.
Oh, nice. We're
Heat.
starting with the Heat.
Yeah. So our beautiful Heat. I am sorry. I didn't realize I still have to pull up the season odds to go to the Heat one. But
it's all right. Under.
Heat, yeah, whatever
it is. I believe it is going to be an under.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they are one of these teams that is public, like the Lakers, where they're usually like a way high. Like they're usually way too high.
Yeah, it's like every year in football with the Cowboys and the Steelers. No matter how bad or good they are, they always have a ridiculously high line on their over/under because they get a bunch of fans of the team that bet on it. Although Miami, the Heat don't really have national fans in the same way the Lakers do, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I would imagine the Celtics probably have more national fans than the Heat, but the Heat are certainly, they've become the media darling over the last decade or so in the NBA. So I, as I said before, I'm not sure that Vegas really cares about that, but I know that they are viewed positively. But they're also in a weird situation right now because they have the potential to trade for Damian Lillard, but they might not. So
Right,
we
right.
really have no idea where this line is going to be. So
So I will tell you where this line is going to be right now. 48 and a half.
that's high.
That's really high. They didn't come close to this, I think, last
no,
year.
no, there's
Like
no
they
way.
were,
They were the 7th seed, so
yeah,
and they were the 8th seed by the time of the playoffs because of the play-in.
they lost since this set. They got Jaime Jaquez. They lost Max Struess, Gabe Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
They are
They
counting
they
heavily on Hayward Highsmith.
and they also brought back Josh Richardson,
Oh, that's right. They've
which
who like Josh Richardson is one of those guys where like I actually didn't really mind Josh Richardson in his time here. A lot of Celtics fans really hated him. He's pretty washed at this point, though.
he shot like 55% from mid-range with the Celtics too, and also shot like over 40% or close to 40% from three. So all things considered, that's very good for a guy that's at least somewhat useful on defense. You know, it kind of. I think he was a little bit overrated. I also obviously watched him play for the Sixers. He drove me insane. But also he was tasked with a lot with the Sixers. Like he was one of our main creators, and he's just not that. He will not be that with the Heat, I would imagine. The issue with a guy like Richardson has always been like, okay, well, if he's not a creator, then what is he? Because the shooting comes and goes, and the defense, you know, he's good in specific matchups, but not all matchups. At this point in his career, I think he is like a 7th man, maybe an 8th man. I don't think he's a starting level player. And the Heat seem to always get away with it, finding these guys on the scrap heap. They also brought in Thomas Bryant, I believe, this offseason as well as another bench guy.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain that they acquired Thomas Bryant as well. Because keep in mind, they only did the Jaime Jaquez pick, and then they did minimum things because they didn't want to use. They still have Kyle Lowry on the books. They still have Tyler Hero on the books. If they were trading for Damian Lillard, they didn't want to go crazy spending wise because Dame makes a ton of money. Now they haven't traded for Dame, and they've kind of created an entire team and roster based on the idea that they were going to trade for Damian Lillard. So that's kind of where we're at with the Heat. And this is a team where their best player misses a lot of games, and it doesn't go, it gets under discussed, but Jimmy doesn't, except for on this podcast where we talk about it all the fucking time. But Jimmy misses 30 games a year almost.
Yeah.
And then there's
It's a lot on Bam. It's a lot on Bam.
Yeah, you're banking on Bam, and if Hero is still on the team and you don't make that Dame trade, both of them taking a pretty big step, I would say.
Yeah, and I don't know, like they lost a lot of their innings eaters. I mean, they still have Caleb Martin, who's a pretty good player, obviously played like way above his head in the playoffs. Like another year older Kyle Lowry, who's like starting to get pretty close to 40 now.
Yeah.
And you know, they're probably going to want to use his money in a deal. I mean, like there is, you know, if you want to believe Windhorst propaganda and some of the other stuff that's coming out here, like maybe Nikola Jovic plays. I tend to think that's more consent manufacturing for a Dame trade, but than actual talking about a guy who's going to be like ready to play. But I don't know, like 48 and a half. I mean, the long story short with this line is this is a bet is do the Miami Heat trade for Damian Lillard during the season this year?
Yeah. Because if they do, you're probably going to, it's very similar to the Clippers with Harden.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think Bill and Russillo are probably going to land on the same thing. They'll probably talk up Jimmy and Spo and Bam, but also point out the fact that these guys, like Jimmy, misses a lot of games, and also the fact that Spo I don't know if they'll point this out because Spo is like the best playoff coach and has been pretty much untouchably the best coach in the NBA for a few years now.
Yeah.
But Spo teams, maybe it's due to the fact that they've married themselves to Jimmy Butler. I think they've only won 50 games one time since LeBron James has left Miami. You can fact check me on this, but I'm fairly certain
Right.
that the Heat only made that one year they were the 1 seed. That was the only year that they won. I'm gonna look it up right now just to confirm.
I'm doing it right now, so you don't have to. You don't have
Yeah.
to worry about it.
Yes,
But
LeBron left in 2013, 2014. They won 37 games, 48 games, 41 games, 44 games, 39 games, 44 games, 40 games, 53, which was the 2 years ago when they made the 1 seed, and then 44 games last year. So this would be an outlier if they don't trade for Dame, because I don't think this team got more talented. I think they got less talented. And I think that those guys kind of didn't really contribute. Like, Vincent and Strus were not very good in the regular season last year, so maybe that doesn't affect that much, but they still are quality rotation players who started for them in the playoffs.
I mean, we always say, "Oh, Miami will just find some guys." I don't know. I think this is too much. I'm going out there. I know I will be owned if they don't. This is a lot to replace. Like, they are going to need, out of their rookies and guys who have not been playing, 3 to 4 rotation guys. More than that if Jimmy's hurt. Is Duncan Robinson going to be playable? Because if he's not playable, you're counting a lot on Hayward Highsmith. You're counting a lot on Nikola Jovic. You're counting on Jaime Jaquez probably to play right away. I don't know. Like,
Kevin Love's also a year older. He's back.
Yeah. I forgot about that. They re-signed him, which is funny. Yeah.
I mean,
like,
he was good for
Bryant,
them, but also it was such a small sample of games that it wasn't a whole season.
Thomas Bryant, isn't an NBA player, it seems like, at this point. And I don't know, Josh Richardson also couldn't be in these younger guys might be better than some of these veterans that they signed.
The one thing is that Spo will be willing to play them, but how much are they going to contribute to winning next year?
I just don't think defensively, I just don't think this is viable at all. They need Jimmy to play a full assortment of games. The defense is going to be awful. Bam, if they finish in the top 15 in defense, Spo and Bam are unreal, because when Jimmy doesn't play, they're going to have literally no other positive defenders. I guess Caleb Martin, that's not true. Caleb Martin, Bam, and that's going to be it when Jimmy doesn't play. That's really bad. To not have, you need Jaime Jaquez out there. I don't know. I'm going under, to nobody's surprise. I honestly think Bill and Russillo are going to join me on the under.
Yeah, all right. So I'm looking at Jimmy's games played. Last year was 64.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he missed 18 games last year.
Yeah,
57 the year before that. So he missed 25 games. And then the year before that was shortened season, but he played 52. So I'm assuming that he missed about 20 games. Mm-hmm. So the last 3 seasons, you're talking about a guy who's missing 18 to 25 games. Okay. And I think that part of this is calculated. I think part of this is built into Jimmy's getting older. He's 33 years old. He will actually be 34 in a week or two. So he's getting up there in age. Part of the reason why I think that they were so gung-ho on making the Damian Lillard trade was, one, their offense completely falls apart when you get to the highest level.
Yeah.
It has both times in the finals, the times that they've gotten there. And then 2, more importantly, is the fact that Jimmy is not going to be able to carry a team for 60, 70 games as he gets older. And Bam, as Bam has become a much improved offensive player, he's not the core of a great offense. And you need someone else to kind of take that burden off him. I just don't believe that, like you said, the guys that we're talking about are good enough to do that over the course of 80 games, plus the fact that they have lost a lot of shooting with Vincent and Strus, even though they had down shooting years last year. They have a lot of defensive question marks. I'm going to go under as well. If they trade for Dame, I think this is pretty much a kind of a no-brainer over. I think that they'll be I think that he is such a perfect. I think he's a perfect fit for what they need, to be honest.
Is there a huge difference between the regular season Miami Heat and what Portland had last year?
Yes, massive. Not even remotely close.
For what?
For
What reason?
everything. They're way
What do you
better.
mean? So
Jimmy Butler, Bam
Tyler,
Adebayo, and Damian Lillard?
okay, Damian Lillard off to the side. Okay, regular season Jimmy Butler versus Jeremy Grant. Like
Jimmy Butler's way better.
he is
Yes.
in the regular season.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about that. So
Yes, wait, no.
Yeah.
We're not moving on from that.
Yeah.
Jeremy Grant is not even close to Jimmy Butler as a player in the regular season.
I don't know. Anthony Simons is better than Tyler Hero significantly.
Sure. Okay. He's also worse than Bam Adebayo.
He is worse than Bam Adebayo. But like I just don't. I don't know. I don't think that's a slam dunk. I mean, the East is worse. This
is worse than Lakers Cope.
No,
this is insane.
Yeah, no. I don't.
This is insane. Come on.
Like we said, Jimmy's going to play like 60 games. By the way, there's no guarantee Dame had abdominal things before. They're going to be maxed out. They're going to have even less depth if they make this trade. They won't have Caleb Martin. They're probably going to lose another rotation guy, whether that's Tyler Hero or Duncan Robinson. I don't know. They are very fucking thin if they trade for Damian.
They certainly are, and I still think that they'd win 50 games.
I mean, the East is really bad, but I don't know.
They'd have the best trio in the East, right? I mean, like, there's not a lot of other teams that are kind of fighting with that.
I think they're going to trade for Dame probably closer to the trade deadline. And
if that's the case, then that's why I would go under. Yeah.
Yeah, and I still have the under pretty comfortably. And what do we think about Bill and Russillo? Like,
I think they'll both go under too.
Okay.
I could see Russillo going over, but he's too logic brain. I think he'll think the more they talk about it, and Bill will probably be big on the fact that Miami doesn't really care about the regular season. Yeah. He'll be like, we saw them get the 8 seed last year and they made the NBA Finals. Why would you ever try again in the regular season?
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, which is true. Yeah. Like, honestly, it's got to the point especially with the way that they play, the amount of threes they're going to shoot, especially if they trade for Dame.
Does the in-season tournament change the calculus? Do the Heat
try hard?
They all of a sudden just shoot 45% from three in the games that are designated as the tournament games?
I would say they would make a mockery of that and not give a shit about it because they're gonna view it as lesser than. Like they're gonna view like Jimmy's gonna be like this is fake.
They're also, by the way, on the short list of teams that could get fucked by the rest thing. I mean, they'll just lie.
Yeah, everyone will immediately figure out a way around that and just be like, oh, Jimmy's knee hurts. Can you prove that his knee is not sore right now? Remember his nickname before he left the Wolves was General Soreness? People put him in like the old war outfits.
General Soreness. He's back, baby.
Yeah, General Soreness is back.
Yeah.
But
by the way, this is the year Jimmy Butler falls from grace and stops being a top 10 player. He's Jimmy Butler.
If there is a god, anymore. But it's just so amazing to me looking at Jimmy's stats in the regular season. He's such a bastard. He averaged 22.9 points per game last year. He took less than 14 shots a game.
Yeah,
13.9.
That's
9 free throws a game. It's amazing.
That's why the calculator rats love him, because he like just doesn't try. He's a theater kid. Like
he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't shoot as much as he needs to. He can take off games in the regular season. He rules. Yeah. All right. Who's the next on our list?
All right. Now, if you're a user by the name of Nihilus Bucks, now is the time for you
tune out.
Yeah. Just, take a 15-minute walk. Come back. Don't yell at us, please. All right, we're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, beloved team of mine. I love these guys so much. They're so great.
Yeah.
53.5 wins for the Milwaukee Bucks.
That's a lot.
There is action on the under, I can tell you that.
Yeah. That is, wow, 53.5. All right, well,
It's one game less than the Boston Celtics.
We already discussed this on the last episode. Bill will talk about as you stated, like a football guy, Bill will talk about Drew Holiday as if he is
Yeah.
Tom Brady.
Right. Yeah. I love that guy. Like Drew Holiday, he's not like Kyrie. He's not gonna sit out these games. He's gonna play every one of them and have a true shooting percentage of 32% in the playoffs. He's gonna be born ready. Like
He's
I
an
don't know.
82 game player.
Here's what I will say though about Bill. Bill is going to turn this one into Russillo. What do you think about Giannis being out there in the media right now? And then they're going to bemoan that there's no good NBA players left, that everybody has to have a brand and
True.
Yeah, like move on. Like this is Giannis is like very much like Giannis saying that implying that he might ask out to boomers is like when Anakin like approaches the younglings with the lightsaber drawn, like no, you were supposed to be. It's like Obi-Wan. You were the chosen one. You were supposed to bring balance to the boomers, not destroy it.
Bill would be like, it's unbelievable. He's going to ask out. I could never imagine if one of the greats asked out of Milwaukee and asked for a trade to, I don't know, a larger market or something like that. Yeah. Anyway, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the third best player of all time.
Yeah. Really, like, God, all the like whining and complaining about this, but they also do like love Giannis.
Yes. Okay. To be fair, they won 58 games last year. I forgot that, so that's why the line is so high.
That is crazy. They
almost won 60 games. Yeah,
because they were the 1 seed. Celtics were the 2 seed. Yeah, I was gonna say I forgot that last year. It's just because like it was so like not so Mickey Mouse. Well, just you and I were on that like. That they were not good, like that they were not that good.
Well, because every time they played a good team, they were like, they were cleaning up. They were beating the mid and bad teams pretty easily throughout the season. I mean, look, we didn't think they were going to lose to the fucking Heat. Like, I think I had them winning in 5 or 6 at most in the Heat series. Like, I thought they were going to handle the Heat, and Giannis got hurt obviously too, so that's a big part of it. But more importantly, they have been kind of regular season killers over the last few years. I'm sorry.
The East is bad, and the East is really bad too.
Since Giannis made his MVP leap, 60 wins, 56 wins, 46 wins in the shortened season, 51 wins, 58 wins. So
still a lot of wins though.
Yeah, they win a lot of regular season games, but we've talked about the East being weaker coming into this season, but also the only teams that we really trust in the regular season especially are Boston and Milwaukee in terms of just like consistency year to year, winning a lot of games. And I mean, when Giannis plays, I think they actually had a really good record without Giannis last year. I think Embiid and Giannis's teams both had really good records without them last year. But the Bucks are certainly have an even larger issue in terms of aging with Drew, Brooke, and Chris Middleton, who, if Chris Middleton's cooked, then I just don't even know where they're going to get their kind of production from.
I feel like it kind of begins and ends with Chris Middleton. Like, if you think Chris Middleton can be like as good as he was like 2 years ago, then you got to feel pretty good about the Bucks. If he's back to being, if it's just who he is now is like, like you said, cooked. Like that, might be watching the beginning of the end for the Milwaukee Bucks here. So,
but this is the regular season, so and like they won 58 games with a compromised Chris Middleton last year,
right? So they signed Malik Beasley, brought Jay Crowder back. Got Robin Lopez to go with Brooke Lopez, who's came back. Chris Middleton. They also got Ty Washington as like a young guy flyer to get like a little bit of youth on their team.
Yeah,
they lost. Myers Leonard still on the team, by the way.
I'm not sure if he is. I know they lost Javon Carter and they also lost Joe Ingles. Javon Carter was pretty good for them, if I remember correctly, this past year especially. Joe Ingles, I know that he didn't even play until like January, I believe. And I just think that I mean, he can still shoot the shit out of the ball, but he's just cooked. I really can't even factor in his loss when I care about the Bucks coming into this season. Yeah, they have a new coach. Okay, Myers Leonard got cut.
Okay.
So yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's free to go back to Miami once they trade for Damian Lillard.
Yeah. I forgot they have a new coach though too.
Adrian Griffin, yeah, that's AJ Griffin's dad, who they hired from the Toronto Raptors. I have no idea how he is as a coach. Look, say what you will about Bud, but Bud's teams win a ton of regular season games.
Yeah.
That was the one thing with him, is that you might have some bozo bird brain shit in the playoffs, but in the regular season, you're probably going to win 50 games, if not 60 games, which he's done multiple times in his career. They won 58 last year.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, I keep
This is a
forgetting
really
that
tough one, actually.
This is actually kind of tough. Yeah, I was going to say that. There was a lot of games, but they are the kings of games that don't matter, though. They destroy mid and bad teams. Like, how often do you see Milwaukee lose again? Like, that's what drives me insane about the Celtics, is the Celtics will lose to like fucking Charlotte on like
the Sixers do the same thing.
Yeah, like the Bucks just, the Bucks might get their doors blown off by like every good team that comes to the door, but it doesn't. They take care of business against the good teams. So
the mid teams. So.
Yeah. I've had a lot of unders on mine. I'll take a very slight over here because 54 is, I think, sounds about right to me, but I don't feel good about it. This is a stay away for me.
Yeah, I mean, I would stay away from this because I think there's a lot of factors.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that we haven't talked about is that this could be the first year where they don't win their division since Giannis made his leap. Because the Cavs are in their division, and they come in first place in their division, and they get a lot of easy cupcake wins with those division games. Playing against, the Cavs are improved now. Like, the Cavs are a real threat to win that.
Pacers are strong.
The Pacers are better. The Bulls are the Bulls, but like they're still going to be competitive.
Detroit is still dog water, but
yeah. Everyone's better is what I'm trying to get at here. It's like it does feel, and I'm not saying the Bulls and the Pistons are meaningfully better, but they're not just like automatic wins in the same way that we might have viewed them in past years. I'm actually going to go under here. I might have to change some when we get to the end, because I feel like I'm going to have way too many unders on the Eastern Conference. But I mean, look, if they didn't come out of last season thinking that they should do the thing where they deprioritize the regular season again, then I don't really know what to make of this, because the last time they deprioritized the regular season, they won the NBA Finals. And the other years they've lost in the first and second round to the Miami Heat when they really gave a shit. Although the bubble year in itself is kind of a weird season as well. But I would imagine that we'll get a lot of Giannis not caring about like playing a ton of games. I think that they'll be careful with the older guys, especially Middleton and Lopez. So yeah, I'm going to go under. I think that this might be the year where they try to find some more youth on the team. Like you talked about the fact that they signed Ty Washington, Marshawn Beauchamp could get a crack at the rotation. Like I think that they might try to lean a little bit on like finding that just to extend the Giannis window a little bit, because if they don't find someone or something to extend that window with Giannis, then I think it's pretty obvious he's going to ask out after the season.
Zach and Ramona were talking about, they were, giggling and tee-heeing about Giannis stuff, but they did have an interesting point that the Bucks could trade the far out pick.
Yeah.
And it would be pretty valuable.
Sure.
Because Giannis is like openly flirting with, LA and Miami and
even
stuff.
If he isn't, then Giannis is going to be like 36 by the time that pick conveys.
So, that is a juicy pick for them to dangle, and they could get like pretty good return for that. Like, they could probably get Jeremy Grant from Portland or someone like that.
Sure.
For that pick, so
that's a guy that they've two of the guys they targeted got massive bags this offseason in Fred VanVleet and Jeremy Grant. Just something to consider in the next year or two. That two guys who they've wanted in the past both got massive salaries that their teams might be looking to get off of at some point. So,
I was going to say those guys are probably easier to get now than they were
Yeah,
because,
exactly.
that's a lot of money. Yeah.
Yeah. You also don't have to deal with some Masai Ujiri to get Fred VanVleet anymore, which is great.
Yeah, that's a huge plus.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
You don't have to go through the unreality of Raptors trade value.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like being Alice in Wonderland, stumbling down the rabbit hole, and then all of a sudden, ooh, OG Anunoby is worth 7 first-round picks. Come on, Mad Hatter, you don't really mean that. Off with the head. Do we think I'm leaning here? Bill over Russillo under for the Milwaukee one.
Yeah, that sounds good to me, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Although I could see Russillo being like, they're just a wins machine with Giannis. He doesn't like to stray very, very, because remember his big thing about the Phoenix Suns last year and how the Suns were like, and I kind of agreed with them, and I think we ended up being wrong because they had Booker miss a ton of time. Chris Paul wasn't the same. They traded for Durant in the middle of the season, and he got hurt. But if I remember correctly, I think that Russillo was big on like the Suns were coming off like a 64 win season, and their over under was like 50.
10. Yeah, he said, are they going to be 10 wins worse?
And they were.
No, and that's correct. They weren't 10 wins worse. They were almost 20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they were way worse.
They were so much. That is kind of staggering that they were 20 wins worse, but we still had home court in round 1.
Yeah. Well, they were such a dominant regular season team 2 years ago, and it was the injury and age regression that was expected. Plus, they made a big move in season, but like the injury regression thing is something that you can't really track year to year unless you have a guy who's like Mikal Bridges that never misses a game. Mm-hmm. Like there are certain teams like the Suns, like Devin Booker was a pretty healthy player and then missed like a bunch of games last year. So I don't know. It's just something that you can't really like count on year to year. And it's something that we're always trying to guess with these things. We have such an issue with teams like the Clippers and the Lakers because we're like, I don't know, like if their guys miss 30 games, then who fucking knows?
Right.
So, yeah, that's just kind of that's the frustrating part about picking these things year to year. But let's move on to our favorite team in September, the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Real quick, there was one team last year with a negative point differential that made the playoffs and play-in tournament. Only one team with a negative point differential.
Yeah, it was Miami, right?
It was Miami.
Yeah. I was like, they're going to be the first team to win the NBA Finals with a negative point differential since the 70s, I think we figured out. Yeah. Or they were the first team since the 70s, I think, to make the finals with the negative point differential.
Like
even it's like the Bullets.
The Minnesota was the only other one, and they were dead even in point differential.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Awesome. So good.
Love and that. Minnesota missed like half their team last year. Cat was out the entire season, basically.
Speaking of Minnesota, we have them next on our list.
My favorite team in August and September, baby, when I haven't watched basketball in 4 months.
44.5. And look, Lucy with the football here. I'm taking the over, baby. I'm all in.
44. Okay, 44.5. So what is Bill's going to gush about Anthony Edwards? I just think he went up a level, Russillo. In that FIBA, I just thought he was the alpha. He's the alpha for this team. This team needs an alpha. Karl Anthony Towns is the furthest thing from an alpha. Rudy Gobert's not an alpha. It's Ant's team. Mm-hmm. They're going to win 50 games. Like I think he's definitely going to go over.
Oh, yeah. And they brought back Naz Reid. I like Naz Reid. I guarantee you that.
I like Naz Reid will be a thing that Bill says. 100% chance.
I like lock that one in.
Yep.
And
he's good.
Yeah. Russillo will match him because Ant is one of the guys that Russillo has like real affection for. And, correctly, I agree with him. Like who doesn't have affection for Ant? But like I think he'll be on top of it. Bill was very perturbed by Jaden McDaniels breaking his hand. Like, he brings that up all the time.
Yeah. That's a very Colin Coward thing to do, right? Because Colin Coward loves to do this with quarterbacks, where pre-draft he was like, I like my quarterbacks to be good decision makers. Baker Mayfield, he's got multiple DUIs. And then he's like, that means he's never going to be a good decision maker on the field. And it's Bill does the same thing with basketball players. He breaks his hand, biggest game of the year. House, how can I trust this guy?
How can I trust him? Exactly. By the way, is that true that Baker has multiple DUIs?
He only had one. I think it was at when he played at Texas Tech, and then he had to transfer.
I wish I knew that, because obviously he was going to gain superpowers when he went to Florida. The DUI,
Duh.
it's like such an easy miss.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for Baker to be bad for Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
That's your Eagles got to look out for that one.
That's a good point. Yeah, sleeper. Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
The DUI in Florida powered
Ewing theory, but for DUIs.
You need at least one guy with a DUI on your team.
The entire fan base is just divorced Jimmy Buffett dads that can relate heavily to Baker Mayfield.
They're mourning right now. Like, they need something to rally around.
Yeah.
Baker is here for them.
Yeah. They missed their drunken man who had songs about dating teenage girls.
Minnesota, 44.5. This cat is going to be an important part of this one too. And just as far as the Russillo and Bill thing, they're actually probably going to spend most of this talking about where Cat might get traded.
Sure.
I'm guessing somehow Bill works in challenge trade, Trae Young for Cat.
So I was just thinking about this the other day. He tried to do it. So first off, he tries to trade Trae Young every podcast that they talk about the Hawks.
Yeah.
But I've heard some information about Trae Young recently that makes me think that Bill might be getting some inside information about how much basically everyone hates Trae Young in Atlanta, and that that might be the reason why he tries to trade him every 5 minutes. But he was doing that with Dame too. He was doing Dame for Trae Young. He did the Dame for Cat too. I guarantee you he brings up them trading for Minnesota trading for Dame, and he'll somehow draw it back to the Rudy Gobert trade and new owner syndrome, and say Cat for Dame. And you just throw in some picks, and he'll always say you throw in some picks, even though Minnesota traded all of their picks for Rudy Gobert. He loves to say that. And then you just throw in some picks. I'm like, they don't have picks to trade. They have second-round picks.
They have no picks. They have almost no picks. Yeah.
Can you do the Bradley Beal just send swaps? Like, I don't know. Like, that seemed like a pretty unique situation. But and also Portland has no interest in taking on the Karl Anthony Towns contract, let's be honest. Even though I kind of think, like, look, I'd rather just get draft picks, because if I'm trying to keep my job and I have all these young guys, it's good to do that. But, like, if you think Scoot is really him and Dame's going to leave anyway, and then you have all these young guys and, like, Jeremy Grant, like, I don't know, Karl Anthony Towns is still a good player. Like,
he would help Scoot a lot, man.
Yeah.
It makes your life easy. You've got to fucking pick and pop big. Like,
you
give Scoot some spacing, like, around him. Like, I don't know. Like, I think that could... there's worse things to do in the world.
Yes.
You know,
as I make fun of it, we're talking ourselves into this.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
It would never happen. It won't. But in theory, it's not the worst idea.
It might be. Like, I don't know. I think there's too much baggage in Minnesota, because he was, like, expected to be the number one guy, and, like, maybe that can still get figured out. But I like Cat if he goes somewhere and it's, like, firmly established, not your team.
Yeah.
Go over there and, you know, do this stuff, you know, like you know, he needs to have a Jaylen Brown type role. So when he, like, doo-doos on himself, you know, there's someone higher than him in the hierarchy to, like, you know, kind of pick up the slack. And
sure.
I think he's been there, even though it's clear Ant is the heir apparent. Cat's just been there so long in Minnesota. Like, I think it just needs to be, like, a change of scenery. Like, I think there's, you know, there's just too much. It's going to be so funny when Cat is he turns into Anthony Davis on the Miami Heat. It's going to make me so mad.
Who, Cat? No, they're never going to. They have Jimmy. They will never trade for Cat.
Well, Jimmy's aging out here. In, like,
okay, gotcha. So you're saying, a few years from now.
Yeah.
We're constructing our Zach LaVine, Karl Anthony Towns reunion with Andrew Wiggins from the Minnesota Timberwolves, but in Miami in 3 years.
They're going to be good.
they're all the best versions of themselves.
I was going to say that's like my all contrarian team. Like, I want to get my guys, my contrarian guys. I want to get Trae Young, Zach LaVine, Cat. Like,
all on one team.
yeah, all these like calculate my ball don't stop team that I'm going to war against the calculator rat with these guys. Who else?
Okay, so I feel like I've said this 100 times on these Russillo Simmons podcasts we've done.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I look at a team, I'm like, they have like 8 NBA players, like rotation players, like guys that would play on multiple teams. Like their starting lineup is going to be Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Karl Anthony Towns, Rudy Gobert, with Naz Reid, Kyle Anderson, Shake Milton, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Leonard Miller, who I liked a little bit in the draft, off the bench. Like that's like eight guys I think that could play in a playoff rotation. And then Leonard Miller as like the wild card. And then as you get a little bit further, it's more like Josh Minott and guys that are kind of, they were rookies last year, Wendell Moore, more question marks, but like Troy Brown Jr., who like has not really caught on in the league, but
is Nickeil Alexander-Walker? I can never tell if I just like Nickeil Alexander-Walker or if he's like good.
I think he's pretty solid, actually.
Yeah.
I thought he was fine last year for when he got traded for. He was decent with the Jazz in his time there, and then he got traded to the Timberwolves. Like he's another one of those guys. Like it all comes down to the shot for me, and it looks like he's fixed his shot, and he shot really well with the Timberwolves. And I remember there was like it was either playoff games or play-in games where he kind of balled out and had like some really big shots. So my opinion on Nickeil Alexander-Walker has went from like extremely negative as a prospect and when he was on the Timberwolves to like, I literally have said before, like I thought he only got drafted because he's Shea's cousin, but he's an NBA level athlete who can shoot and defend, which is like, and he can handle the ball a little bit. Like I think he's solid. Like I think if he's like I said, he's going to be their 8th man behind Kyle Anderson and Naz Reid off the bench. Like,
yeah,
totally fine as like a 2-3 that you could bring it off the bench.
Yeah. He also might be 9th man behind Shake, to be honest. Like,
yeah, and then Shake is like, your combo guard that you can play a little bit when Conley or Ant are on the bench. Like,
yeah,
I kind of like their roster, but I say that about a lot of teams.
I don't know. I think that's too low. They had such an awful year from hell. Last year, and they won 42 games. So
yeah, I'm gonna go over for them.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm tempting fate, but I really am considering locking this. But
you said it's 44?
44 and a half, so they got to win 45 games.
I don't feel that confident in them right now, but I might when we come back at the end. That might be a lock for me.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. What do we think about? So, do we think Simmons and Russillo go over here? Now, I think
Russillo. I think Simmons is going to do what I did and just like read down their roster and be like, I like Naz Reid. Shake Milton, he played big games for the Sixers. He's been in a lot of big games, he'll say about Shake Milton.
Okay, so I'm going to do what I know Russillo will do then, and I'll read out the list of teams that need to not make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They need to be better than. They need to be better than Sacramento. They need to be meaningfully better than Utah. They need to be better than Oklahoma City with Chet and everybody back.
Yeah.
They need to be better than this, they need to be better than New Orleans, who, we're going to get to them in a second. But
they're the ultimate question mark every year.
Yeah, they're a question mark team. They need to be better than the Mavs. And we're not even getting to the Detroit, Suns.
Detroit isn't in the West.
Sorry, not Detroit. Golden State. I'm
sure. Yeah, the actually established multiple time playoff teams.
Lakers, who were just scrapping and clawing, who were in a worse state. So that's the only thing with Minnesota is the West is such a fucking bear this year.
Yeah.
There might be, again, like there was last year, there might be 6 teams within 2 games of each other, heading into the last month of the season. So I don't know, but, again, 45, I don't know. They could also eat against East teams, though, because that's the other thing is, unlike football, you play the other conference a lot. So you can still get your wins there, even if your conference is kind of hard. So
yeah, I might beat Charlie Brown with the football as well, but I'm going higher on them. I also think Chris Finch is a fine coach. Maybe a year of Cat and them together will be good. I mean, look, they do have potential for the bottom to fall out in this way. Rudy Gobert is older and is heavily predicated on, like, he does have a ton of length, but he still is, like, his game is predicated on, and he has good feel on the defensive end, but and Conley will get better, hopefully will get better out of him on the offensive end, but like he still does rely a little bit on athleticism. And then the thing about Conley is that, like, he's 30, he's the Kyle Lowry thing. Like, he's a little bit better than Lowry at this stage in his career, but he's like 36, 37. Like, if he just falls off a cliff, then it's like, okay, we thought we had our point guard, and now, like, Ant takes on a larger role. And, like, as great as Ant is, do you think that Russillo and Simmons are going to talk about him for MVP? Because I've thought about it more, and I'm more like, it's too early. Like,
too early. It's way too early.
He's 22.
We brought him up last year as a possible. I think we were talking about, like, first team All NBA.
We were doing, like, I think he was on our, like, super long shot list of MVP candidate.
I think we were talking about NBA. Were we talking about?
We did an awards podcast too, and we had like, he had like 10 plus 10,000 odds, and we were like, if they're really good, then maybe. But
but I don't know. They're not going to be good enough.
He's still 22, and like the last guy that is in his mold, like hyper athletic scorer type, that was at 22 years old in the MVP conversation was Derrick Rose, and there hasn't been anyone, like, realistically in that sense. Like, maybe Ja Morant, but, like, not really.
No, I was getting the comp. I was going to use Dwayne Wade.
Sure. Yeah. But even Wade was like a 22-year-old rookie, I think.
Yeah. So I don't, I don't know. I believe in the Wolves getting to the playoffs. I think they're going to be a really strong team, but the West is so fucking hard. I don't think they're not going to win enough games to get, like, any legitimate, like, award buzz. Like, I think Ant might be a pretty good bet for, like, making All NBA this year, though.
Yeah,
like,
second or third team All NBA.
Yeah. Sure. So,
yeah.
But MVP, I can't see it.
That's too much. Yeah. All right, let's move on. As we're 52 minutes in, and we've talked about 3 teams.
We've got to give Bill and Russillo a over-under for this Minnesota team.
I think they're both going to go over, right?
I agree with you. Yeah. We're all over on Minnesota again. After we got fucking owned last year.
I was just, like, unreasonably high.
You were so mad at me for talking you into the Minnesota thing. And here we are back again, baby. One last ride. Wolves apologists.
It's going to be incredible when we're looking at this in April. Like, I'm going to clip this and be like, we knew and we did it anyway.
Yeah, I know. Like,
fuck.
Yeah, I think you got 37 wins going into the last game. Fucking goddamn it! Like, we
exactly.
Oh god, I don't know. I'm
too much. I'm sorry, too much talent. They have too much talent, even if it's flawed. They have too much talent. Don't win 45 games.
Yeah, they'll do it. Next up, another just insane team. Our New Orleans Pelicans. Exact same line, 44.5.
Last year, remember when we did theirs and we were like, lock?
Yeah.
It was the only lock we missed.
Yeah.
And we in Vegas knew, because they knew Zion would get hurt, and they were cruising. They were the number 1 seed when Zion got hurt. They were cruising to clearing their line last year, and it was going to be just such a lock. Zion got hurt here in Philly, pulled his hamstring in a game that he was absolutely dominating in, and then the rest of their season fell apart. Brandon Ingram couldn't stay healthy, so it's 44.5. Trey Murphy's already possibly out to start the season.
Yeah,
he will come back, though. He does have that meniscus that, like, Joel and them had, not like the Colin Sexton, I have to get surgery.
It's literally the exact same fucking thing. They were 42-40 last year, and it's a 45 game line, and god damn it.
I'm not struggling with this one as much.
Really?
I'm pretty confident Zion's not going to be healthy, and I'm pretty confident that they're really good, but when Zion's out, they're just not good enough. And, like, with Trey Murphy already starting the year injured, maybe he comes back and it doesn't matter, but, like, he's coming off a meniscus. We know Ingram has trouble staying healthy too. CJ McCollum did not look like the same player last year, and he's going to have to carry a lot this year. And they just don't have a guy that gives me enough. Like Trey Murphy was the variance guy that would have, if he has a breakout season, they could win 50 games. Even if Zion is in and out of the lineup and Brandon Ingram can't stay healthy and blah, blah. I just don't see it. Like they're another team that I'm a broken record here, but they have a lot of NBA talent, but if both of your best players can't stay healthy and they're not old, then I don't feel great about you, to be honest. Like with the Lakers and Clippers, their excuse is that those guys are older. Like I just feel like look, maybe Zion plays 65 games for the first time in his career and they clear this, they crush it, but like he's barely played in the NBA and it's been 5 years. And he's the only one on their team that matters enough that like they could win 50 games, I think.
They drafted Jordan Hawkins.
Nice player, but only matters if you're healthy. Like if your stars are healthy. He's a role player.
I don't listen to like even with Brandon Ingram and Zion out, Trey Murphy, he's not going to miss that much time. So like he'll be back at some point. You're still talking about CJ McCollum, Dyson Daniels, Trey Murphy, Jonas Valanciunas, Najee Marshall, Herb Jones, Larry Nance Jr., Jose.
They have a lot of NBA talent. I'm not denying that. Jose Alvarado also just got hurt, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that. But was that bad? No,
I think it was just like a minor injury.
Yeah,
I don't think it was that bad.
I don't think it was bad. So Jordan Hawkins. I don't. That's a lot of NBA talent, and you're probably right. Like I would put odds like 20% to 80% that Zion's like going to be like hurt. But if that 20% hits, they're all of a sudden like in the mix for a number 1 seed.
Sure. No, they have the talent if Zion's healthy. I agree.
Yeah.
Over the last 160 NBA games, how many percentage wise? Guess how many games Zion has played?
Oh no, yeah, we've done this like recently. It's like less than 20%, I think.
It's 17%.
Yeah,
he has played in 17% of the last like 160 games. 164 to be exact, 17.6. He just can't stay healthy. Like if Zion stayed healthy, they're crushing this. And I'm willing to look stupid, but I'm not doing it again. I do it every year with the Pelicans.
The other thing is that like David Griffin is kind of in shit or get off the pot mode. Like I wonder if his job is going to be like if he's going to start being in need to keep my job mode.
In Raphael Stone sicko mode.
Yeah, like I think that they're a candidate to do like an OG Anunoby trade or something that like stabilizes them. OG Anunoby is not perfect for what I'm talking about, but like
but he's good. Yeah, sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like they making some kind of trade like that for like a guy who's technically made an all-star team but is not an all-star, like or something like that. A consolidation trade of all of their picks that they have and some stuff. And a guy
they should trade for Damian Lillard, dude. There's no team in the NBA that should trade for Damian Lillard more than the Pelicans.
CJ going home.
We've done that. We do. Yeah, exactly. No, we've done this with the Pelicans for 2 years where we're like, they should just trade for Kevin Durant. They should just trade for Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
And with Dame, you don't even have like the injury concerns as much as you did with Kevin Durant. Like
there really is no reason they shouldn't just trade for Damian Lillard. Like you have so much shit.
And he would be like, if Zion is in this world that we're talking about, they feel pretty good about Zion's health in a way that I'm not like confident in. But if that's the case, that instantly becomes the most talented team that Dame's ever played on.
Again, Lucy with the football. I'm gonna do it. I see it coming this time.
I think it's fine to do it. To be honest, I think it's fine. I think they're talented enough that if Zion plays even 50 games, they could clear this. But I'm just not going to be the guy that kind of.
I'm going to be the guy that does it.
I'm not going to be the guy that does it.
I feel pretty confident Bill and Russillo are going under.
Yep, they're going to say they're going to do all the same boomer things that I just did.
Yeah. I was going to say
how many games, Russillo? How many games is he going to miss?
It's a football town. Shout out to Richard. Shout out to Fred Richard, who I know loves the football town.
It's a football. Yeah.
It's a football town.
Oh, does he get mad when I say that?
He gets mad when everyone says that about New
I'm
Orleans.
literally doing this. So
Yeah.
I'm literally doing this based on something that I've been told by a person who is from New Orleans and lives in New Orleans.
His Richard's point, and I think he's right. It's like, yeah, that's true of like almost every city except for two.
It's true. That is true.
Like every city in America is a football. Like Boston is a football town. Like I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like like maybe you could make a case for the Red Sox, but it's really the fucking Patriots are like the number.
Oh yeah. I had a person in my mentions earlier saying that Philly is a football town, so Eagles are first.
Yeah.
Eagles are first, and then he said the Phillies are second, and I would say the enthusiasm about the Phillies is probably second. If you boiled it down to like pure numbers, who actually watches basketball might slightly eke it out here with the Sixers when both teams are good. But in terms of like the city really goes crazy. The city goes crazy when the Phillies are really good for sure. And then he argued with me that if the Flyers were better and not a shit show, that the Sixers would be fourth. And I'm like, and it's a Patriots fan, Patriots and Celtics fan tweeted at me. It was like, dude, the Bruins were like one of the best teams in NHL history in the regular season this past year, and they were clearly fourth. No one gives a shit about hockey anymore. Was my point.
Yeah, no, that's so true. Like
cities just don't care anymore. Even Massachusetts was huge into hockey forever.
Yeah,
and people just don't care as much.
No, they just don't care. Like there are like hockey gets like the football guys out of season. Like you know, it's the warrior culture.
Sure.
So you know, they're the ones picking up the Republicans. Like yeah,
sure.
So like you know that's the one when you like want to
shrinking population too.
Yeah, when you want to do like dog whistles about the NBA.
Sure.
Like that's the sport you pick up a lot of the time. You can tell hockey's fourth because of how much like pissing and moaning they do about the "Please Like My Sport" posting. You know.
Oh my god! Oh, and all my friends who used to do that, by the way, "Please Like My Sport." Mm-hmm. They don't even watch it anymore. Or like if they do watch it, they just watch their team. Like they don't watch the NHL at large. Yeah. And one of the things that they talk about is my one friend talks about, he's like, the NHL's just so bad at marketing their stars. Like I don't know some of the best players in the NHL. Like I don't know, like if I had to name 10 NHL players, they would all be older players, and then like Connor McDavid's the only one that I know that is like somewhat like they're just horrible at marketing their stars.
Yeah. No, and you know, and look, no disrespect, I actually really like hockey.
Playoff hockey's great.
Yeah, and it's awesome live. Like one of the better live sports too. Like, but it's just like nobody like cares as much. You know, it's the Canadians, the godless Canadians, and like precisely no one else. But yeah, but you know, to Richard's point, yeah, I mean everywhere there's like I think the Yankees are probably clear, the Giants and Jets, and the Lakers definitely clear, the Rams and the Chargers obviously, but like outside of that, I can't think of another town in America where like there's another sport that's like more popular than the football team.
It's very rare.
Let's just say like maybe the Astros over the Texans, but like outside of that,
well, the Lakers over any of the LA teams is an obvious one.
Yeah. I think I just said that, but yeah.
Oh, you did? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's a very obvious one.
That's an obvious one, but yeah, it just, you know, everybody's a football town, but I don't know. Pelicans over. Are you joining me on the over? Or are you staying under?
I'm staying under for now.
All right.
For now, until we're gonna get a chance to have some mulligans on this when we re-review it at the end. But
next up, my big loss from last year, the team that destroyed me. This was by far every other over under. I was like pretty close. Like every other thing, I felt pretty good about what I said about the team, even if I might have missed the over under. This is the only one I was completely wrong on. The New York Knicks. 44.5, just like the Pelicans and the Wolves, in a much weaker conference. We're above this last year, 47-35. Probably lost Obi Toppin.
Got Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all they did.
And, RJ Barrett, some of these younger guys, Deuce McBride, Quentin Grimes, another year
Manuel
older.
quickly.
Yeah, they might get a little better. I think Quickly kind of is who he is, but I think those younger guys might get a little better maybe. They kind of, they came out of Josh Hart. They'll have a full season of Josh Hart.
Oh, we do have to take into consideration that Julius Randle sucks every other year.
That is true. I forgot.
It's all NBA one year and bad vibes the next year.
We are due for a Julius Randle stinker.
Yeah.
Combined with with RJ Barrett too, that could really hurt. Isaiah Hartenstein, Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, like that again, another team that has a lot of really good NBA talent. Like they go 12 deep with NBA talent. Or at least 11 deep. So I don't know.
They're going to be that pain in the ass team that no one wants to play because they have a ton of like energy, like Josh Hart and Mitchell Robinson. Like they're going to be like a top 3 rebounding team next year. I can put that. You can put that in fucking pen. Dante DiVincenzo kind of adds to that whole Villanova thing.
Yeah. They play gross game. Like they're going to be the gross. They're going to play the gross games. Like,
yeah.
That's kind of their bread and butter is these like real gross games. I mean, Jalen Brunson, here's my thing. I'll go back to my thing. I always say it. Whenever a guy has a huge improvement one year, it's usually a pretty good bet he's going to take a little step back the next year. That's not to say Jalen Brunson's going to be bad next year, but I seriously doubt he's going to have a 1-to-1 exactly the same good season.
Yeah, second half of the year last year, he was on fire.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's stamped now, in my opinion. He was the best player
really
in a playoff series. When you're the best player in a playoff series, you get stamped. Like Jalen Brunson's legit. I think he's going to be in the All-Star mix for guards from here on out. But I just, there's usually a little bit of regression, especially when teams have a whole offseason to look at tape on you and what you're doing. Especially when your team doesn't change much like this team is going to do. Like everyone's going to kind of know what you're trying to do and what your deal is. Julius Randle. I don't know though, but also the East sucks. So
I like this team in the regular season more than I like them in the playoffs. I think that I like them to have, I mean, like we said, Randle, if Randle's good, then they make the playoffs. He makes all NBA. If Randle's bad, then they miss the playoffs. Like that is literally been connected to that. But they have a lot more talent now. Jalen Brunson's clearly the best player. They have depth. I think Dante DiVincenzo is only going to add to that. Obi Toppin didn't really play for them that much. If anything, if I could point to one thing that I would say is like a weakness on this team, it's probably wing defense. But a lot of their smaller guys play up. Like Josh Hart is 6'5", but he can guard like 6'8" guys. Quentin Grimes is the same thing. Like they don't have like a big wing defender. RJ is, I guess, can kind of do that a little bit. But
I'm gonna say RJ, trick or treat RJ. Like sometimes RJ actually is like a really good defender, but like a lot of the time he's not. So it's like are
same
you
with Julius Randle. Like Julius Randle has games where it's just like, oh my god, he just doesn't give a fuck. But between the rebounding and like, I just feel like they're gonna be a tryhards. And like the rebounding and the at least like they don't have one like Brunson has become obviously the main shot creator, but everyone could create a little bit on this team. Everyone can shoot a little bit on this team. I think they're pretty balanced. Like in the regular season, I feel like I'm going to go over on this. I feel confident that like a Tibbs team is going to try every single night. I feel confident that they're going to be busting their ass on a fucking Wednesday in January against it's always one of two teams. It's either the Orlando Magic or the Charlotte Hornets, but the Magic are good now. So I'll say the Charlotte Hornets. And I think that that's going to be an advantage for winning regular season games. So I'll say over, but I could see them losing in the first round of the playoffs easily.
Russillo, I want to tell you something. You tell me if this is too much. Is Joel Embiid on this team in December? Joel Embiid, he's his agent. He's got connections. He loves. He's got his agent, Worldwide West. That's his guy.
Oh my God! And Julius Randle just left CAA, which
Yeah.
is the today. It was announced that he left CAA, which
Bill's gonna
is
be
the next old. He's going to be like, I'm just telling you, my conspiracy Bill, my spidey senses are tingling.
Yeah. God. Oh God. It's gonna be
Julius
so.
Randle, look at his contract.
There's gonna be minimum Knicks talk. It's gonna. All of
Yeah.
this is gonna be. Bill is just gonna want to talk about them going after Giannis, Luka, Donovan Mitchell, and he's gonna say, I don't like Donovan Mitchell for them. I don't go get Embiid, go get Giannis. And by the way, Bill's not wrong.
Yeah, no,
about that.
I would
Yeah.
wait. I would wait if I'm them. I don't even know if it's even Embiid or Giannis, maybe Luca. Like that would be the
My thing is the Knicks don't actually have good draft picks.
Yeah.
And their young players are like good but not great. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't
Yeah.
have a young player who's got like star upside.
Well, it's funny because I was just like, oh, their weakness is wing defense. And then I thought about it and I was like, well, no, they get kind of past. They don't have a weakness really. It's just that I think that they top out because they don't have that star player. Like they don't have like they don't have anyone who's better than even when Jalen Brunson's on fire, he's the 15th best player in the NBA.
True. Late breaking slop on air for the Philadelphia Sixers. I'm breaking this. Free agent guard Kelly Oubre Jr. is expected to sign a 1-year deal with the Philadelphia 76ers. Sources tell ESPN.
Oh God. Oh God.
You don't like that, huh?
Well,
I kind of like that. Why not?
Well, look, we don't have wings.
Yeah, that's
we
what
don't.
I'm saying.
We don't have any wings on the team. Like we don't have any athletic wings, I should say. Tobias and PJ. PJ's old as dirt. Tobias is, he's capable, but he's not athletic at all. Every other guy that we were going to have on the team was going to be a smaller dude playing up. If Danny Green makes the team, he's also old as dirt. They just don't have any wing depth. This was I can't believe that they're going to make me watch Kelly Oubre play basketball.
Yeah, I was gonna say, that's like
my thing with Kelly Oubre is he just thinks he's a superstar, and he's just such an empty calories player. Like he, in theory, can be a good NBA player, but every team that he leaves instantly gets better when he leaves.
That is true. Yeah, that is true.
We've seen it with and some of that is context dependent, but we've seen it with the Suns, we saw it with the Warriors. Expect the Charlotte Hornets to make a big leap next year without Kelly Oubre. Oh my God, I don't like watching Kelly Oubre play. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that he injects the team with a little bit of athleticism and size, and he is friends with Joel. I'd imagine. I think they played together at. Oh wait, no, he was the two. Maybe they were a year off in the draft.
He's also a very handsome guy. I
Yes.
think honestly, I always say it's
He is hot.
It's helpful to have hot players. This is why Jaylen Brown, as much as everyone likes to clown Jaylen Brown, you've got to have at least one really hot player on your team, and Kelly Oubre will really help them. Yeah, hit the hot guy, thing. I don't know, big wing. It's I'm assuming it's for the minimum.
It's got to be for the minimum.
Yeah.
I will say I was surprised he wasn't on a team. He's definitely an NBA player. I didn't think that he was going to end up signing with us because we literally just signed Danny Green a week ago, and it sounded like Danny Green's going to make the team. Is this a precursor to a Harden trade? Because otherwise they're rolling. They have 16 players on the team now, unless this is a non-guaranteed contract.
I mean, I guess someone's getting waived for guaranteed money. Probably someone who was on the roster coming into this year.
We don't have anyone that we can waive unless we're just dumping
money. Yeah, I was gonna say, well, is that Paul Reed? Your services are no longer needed.
Well, Paul Reed can't get traded. Yeah. I'm trying to think of who else could be. I mean, unless they dump Springer or they dump.
Oh man,
someone. I don't really care about Springer, to be honest anymore. If he can't shoot a basketball, he's not an NBA player.
You say this now, but when he's lighting it up for the Kings or someone like that,
sure, he might look. He might be, but also he's just so inconsistent. And I know he's super young, but yeah, I don't know. I don't like this move, to be honest. I'm not a fan. But
I think it's fine. I think for a minimum signing, I think he
For
addresses
his minimum signing, it's fine. But yeah, it's also very funny. First off, his dad, Tobias's dad, is also Kelly Oubre's agent.
There we go. There it is. There it is.
Which is very funny because he only has one other client, and he got Kelly Oubre $30 million on the one contract he negotiated.
That's true. Yeah,
2 years, $30 million, and now he gets to come play with the team that's holding his own son hostage.
Hey, by the way, scoreboard for Tobias Harris's dad, like,
Yeah,
incredible batting average.
Yeah,
Like,
he's got 2 really good contracts for players that honestly do.
If you're a young NBA player, go get Tobias Harris's dad on your contract. Drop Bill Duffy or whoever the fuck you have, and go get a real agent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable. Someone just tagged me that I called this like 4 months ago. I don't even remember doing it, but all right, hold on. I have to tweet that this happened while we were recording.
Okay. Yeah. While Trill is doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to right my wrongs. I'm gonna go over with the New York Knicks at 44.5. I don't want to get owned again by the Knicks. I think this line is about right for the record. I would kind of stay away from this.
Yeah. I think they're going to be right in that range.
Sure. They're not going to be a lot worse than this. They're not going to be a lot better than this. So, this is just going to come down to coin flips and injuries and stuff like that. But they'll probably be about the same team. I would be shocked if they made any meaningful moves during the year because, again, they're going to be one of these teams that's kind of locked in a holding pattern because of all these big guys coming down the pipe. Like, they are, for whatever reason, even though I don't really like their trade packages, they do seem to be a team that is headlining a lot of these, like, star wish lists. So I'm sure the Knicks will hold on to what they have to hold on to for that. So
yeah. Oh God, sorry. I was getting nauseous looking at Kelly Oubre's stats. I had a tweet earlier this offseason that he his assist percentage was like, I think we figured out his assist percentage was like 6% or something, but his usage rate was like 25%.
No.
It was like unbearably bad. I'm hoping that they use him strictly as a play finisher with the Sixers because oh man, I'm just I'm not a fan of Kelly Oubre, but look, hopefully he fucking proves to be wrong. Because if anything, we need just any guy who can pass as a wing that is athletic. I just can't see this guy staying in Nick Nurse's rotation. That's just my thing. So, all right. At least we got another NBA player, which I was concerned about. As we go down these teams, the more and more I'm like, wow, they have a lot of NBA players. I was like dreading getting to the Sixers and being like, so
we're due for expansion. So now's the time to get it. So
okay. So
Bill and Russillo on the Knicks. Do we think higher, lower, over, under 44.5? I can't tell. I don't think Bill is going to be interested in talking about this Knicks team specifically. He's going to talk about the Knicks deserve something good. The Knicks fans love Brunson. Like, he loves all the lore making with like the Garden and Knicks fans and everything like that. And like talking about their relationships with that. I don't know how that necessarily is going to translate to what he thinks of the team, though.
He loves the Villanova guys is a big part of this. I love Josh Hart. They got Dante DiVincenzo, Jalen Brunson. Are they going to get Mikal Bridges in a few years? Like, that's
right.
I could see Bill being higher on this Knicks team, but I think that they're kind of going to say what we said about the fact that they're waiting to make their move. So, so what was the next team? I'm sorry.
Next team is Oklahoma. Well, are we going over or under for Russillo and Simmons?
I'm going to say over. I feel like we keep doing this, but over for Simmons, under for Russillo.
Yeah. I mean, we've toggled back a couple of times on some of these, so I think that'll be about right.
Let's do it.
This next one, I think all of us are going to be in lockstep here because this is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're under over. Once again, the number of this half of the pod is 44.5 wins.
Jesus Christ, man. Is that just like the median outcome for every fucking team in the West?
I get it. Like, pretty much, literally, we've done these three teams were all together, clustered together. All three, we just did three West play-in teams in
Mm-hmm.
Pelicans, Thunder, and Wolves. All of them had over-unders of 44.5. So, and OKC was 40 and 42 last year.
Okay, so they were 40 and 42.
Mm-hmm.
They are getting Chet Holmgren. They are adding Cason Wallace as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
All of their guys have potential to take another step. SGA, Giddey, Jalen Williams, good Jalen Williams, as Bill likes to call him.
Both Jalen Williams, honestly. Like, you know,
the one thing I will say is that of all these teams, they still are kind of thin with unproven talent on the back end of their rotation more so than some of these teams, but they still have guys who could pop and like fill in those roles nicely.
Also, like, you know, Chet, for a guy who has still not, a year after being drafted, still not played any NBA minutes, I would like a little better big depth from them, to be honest. Like,
yeah,
Robinson Earl being your like next big guy up is a little tough.
It's Jalen Williams is the backup, and then Robinson Earl would be third, I would guess.
But I think Robinson Earl played more than other Jalen Williams.
I think other Jalen Williams will play more this year. Big
Okay.
Jalen Williams. I think that they're primed to make an in-season trade too. Though.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that
because they have Davis Bertans and Victor Oladipo's contracts on their books?
Yeah,
they can get up to like 20 million, like 25 million.
That's why I'm taking the over, and I'm seriously considering locking it because I think that they are the clearest, most straightforward team to making a consolidation trade.
Yes.
And
they have so many picks. Like they could get, if we get halfway through the year and someone becomes available that is like someone we either didn't expect or someone who's really good, or a team decides to tank or whatever, Oklahoma City's the first team with capital. Oklahoma City's the first team with matching contracts. Oklahoma City could fill any gap that they have on their roster. I'm going over.
Yep. Welcome to the team.
I like their team. I mean, Isaiah Joe's my guy. Cason Wallace is my guy. I have always liked Shea.
We're all in on OKC. I've Sam Presti and I have buried the hatchet after he didn't. I really thought
Sam was in a parasocial relationship with Sam Presti, but it was a hatred, not a fandom.
Exactly. Well, I thought he was gonna sit. I was really mad at him for sitting Shea, like for Shea not playing as much, because I think they on purpose did that to tank for Shea.
Sure.
And I thought they were gonna do it again with it being, you know, a pretty strong draft last year in Wemby, and they did. So credit to them.
Yep.
Shea probably was too good for them to tank, no matter what Presti did. But so they just have a lot of options here. I'm honestly kind of a Chet skeptic. So even on top of that, even with me thinking I'm not sure Chet's going to be great next year or anything like that, or meaningfully above replacement. So but I still really like OKC because I think they're going to get one of these guys like Jeremy Grant or someone like that, and I think it's just going to boost them up, and they're going to be. I think this is going to sound a little crazy because they still haven't made the playoffs, and I usually am a little bit of a show me guy, but I think they're going to be closer to teams like the Warriors and the Lakers and some of these other teams than they are going to be to some of the the Pelicans and the Timberwolves and some of these other teams we read through. So
yeah, this is the year that they have potential to make like a 10-win leap, and like all the pieces just finally come together for them. Yeah, I feel pretty good about this one.
I wonder. I was gonna say I wonder. I would almost if anyone could find, if I could get like good odds on it, I would almost bet for like OKC to have a better record than the Suns. Because I feel like you could get pretty good odds on that, and I would probably bet that. So
I'm gonna lock this one as well. Add that to my locks.
Okay, he's here.
Let's get it.
I'm thinking about locking it too.
I think I've only done. That's only my second lock, so I'll have to add some at some point.
Third. You locked Cleveland over, and you locked the Pacers over. So
okay, all right. I feel good.
Yeah, I think that's a good one. All right, we're going to another YKB darling young team. The beautiful Orlando Magic. Oh my God. 36.5 wins. This is an overlock for me. I'm not even thinking about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I think they're going to win. How many games did they win last year? 30?
34.
Yeah, I do think that I think they're a little bit away from where Oklahoma City is in their
Yes.
rebuild, like that
They
level
also play
of
in a
team.
dog shit conference though that got
I,
worse.
I think I think that they're definitely going to be good in like really good in like 2 years, but I feel like this is going to be the year where they like make the play in
I think they're winning the Southwest Division this year.
over the Heat.
Yep.
So you think that they're going to make like a well, then again, the Hawks and the Heat were battling in the play-in for the Southwest
That's
Division
what I'm saying. Like
or Southeast Division.
yeah, the Wizards are bad now. I'm just saying I'm locking the over for Orlando. I think Bill and Russillo are going to be over here as well.
I love France. Okay, a question that will be asked. A question that I think I've either answered or come close to answering on the podcast a few times. I might have even on our mock draft done. I think I said I would have took Franz #1 over Mobley,
Yeah.
but he will ask. I think I said this during the Detroit part. Russillo, how many guys would you take over Franz? And then he'll gush about Franz. They'll talk about how much they love Paulo. But Russillo was like a little bit like, I don't know, sometimes there's stuff with Paulo where, he looks like a top 5 player, and then some nights it's just I don't know, the decision making, the shot selection is not great. He's not like, I don't think he's head over heels for the Magic, but I think that they'll both come to the conclusion that they're better than this.
I was gonna say 36.5 is way too low. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They're gonna be way better than 2 games. Like they're all young guys, getting all improving. They, I mean, I guess if you cannot love Jet Howard, but
Or Anthony Black.
But that's the thing is, I like Anthony Black. Like I don't. They had a little bit of a weird draft. Like they didn't really draft for like fit necessarily.
Right.
Like I think that there's a chance that could like come back to them a little bit. I still really like. I think the East got way worse, and I think that they're going to be a lot. I don't know. I just think they're going to, just by virtue of treading water, being young, and playing together for another year, that all that core of guys who are like going to have a little more like oomph from playing together. Sophomore year Paolo, like I don't know. I really like the Magic. I think
my only concern with the Magic is that I still think that they're super young. Like every single one of these, like Jalen Suggs has not been a good NBA player to start his career. The older, like the vets on this team, other than are like Gary Harris and Markelle Fultz, who are in their late 20s. Even Markel's like 26. Like I don't even think he's that old. Wendell Carter's still like 24, 25. I think he's 25. I trust that they're talented enough that stuff won't matter, but like there will be enough question marks in their rotation with the 2 rookies, with Jet Howard and Anthony Black, with Jalen Suggs. That's the thing that could hold them back from being like a legit playoff team to me, but I still think that they're going to clear this over under pretty easily. And I think that Paulo and Franz both have a shot at making the All-Star team. So if that's the case, then they should easily come close to hitting that 40 wins. Caleb Houston's another guy that's just kind of unproven. Jonathan Isaac can never stay healthy. Fultz has had injury issues. So like there's certainly a lot of there is a potential for the bottom to fall out, but as long as those 2 guys are healthy, I feel pretty good about their chances of clearing this. So let's stick with that.
Okay. No, not locking me.
Everyone is going to love the Magic, right? No, I'm not going to lock it yet.
Okay.
But everyone's going to love the Magic. I think that Bill and Russillo will agree. I can't imagine.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is a pretty trendy pick. And
Sure.
you know me, I love to zag against the trend. I love the Mr. Contrarian, but I don't know. I really like the Magic, and
Sure.
I think the Southwest Division is dire.
Yeah.
There's a small chance that there's no over 500 team in the Southwest Division this season. So, just something to consider. There almost wasn't one last year. So,
yeah.
All right. So that's the Orlando Magic. Trill, it's time. It's time for the reckoning. The Philadelphia 76ers, beloved franchise of all listening to this podcast. I've had more people in my life Sixers fans, when I ask them about the Sixers, they react like I'm asking them about a family member who like stole something from their house. They're like, I don't want to talk about them right now. Not now. Maybe if they clean their shit up, but like not now. They're just like mad and like want them to go away. The Sixers are 48.5.
It's funny because I went to an Eagles tailgate last week, and the first thing that everyone says to me when they see me now is, "Hey Trail," or "Hey, my real name, which is Porter. I'm out on the Sixers, by the way. I don't trust them anymore. I'm not watching them. I will not be associating with that team in Philadelphia that plays basketball any longer." 48.5 is the line. I'm still a little bit in shock that they just signed Kelly Oubre while we were on the air. I'm looking at some old things. By the way, if you want to go full conspiracy brain here,
Yeah.
you know who loves Kelly Oubre? And
no, who?
Damian Lillard apparently has been for years was trying to get Kelly Oubre on the Blazers.
Oh,
which is so funny to me because I'm like, you couldn't just get Kelly Oubre. Seems like a very acquirable player. He's traded like 3 times, signed in free agency for multiple different teams. But if you want to go super conspiracy brain, Mark Spears says earlier today that there's a mystery team in the Eastern Conference, and then Kelly Oubre says no. But in all seriousness, 48.5. I'm very split on this because if you look at their numbers with Joel, in Joel's career, even if you go back to that 1 year that he played with basically a bunch of non-NBA players and TJ McConnell and Robert Covington, that was their team in 2016, 2017. Their record was pretty decent. Like his career winning percentage when Joel plays is a 53 win pace. They've won 65% of their regular season games with Joel Embiid, dating back to 2016, 2017. If you remove that year, I bet you'd be even higher since they've had a competent team in 2017, 2018. Having said all that, there's still so many fucking question marks around this team. You have the Harden situation going on. You have, I was going to bring up the fact that they have 0 wings until they signed Kelly Oubre, but I don't even know if that's a positive or not. They have a new coach in Nick Nurse. They have Tyrese Maxey seemingly thinking he's going to be taking a major step this year with on-ball stuff, but Harden's still also on the roster still. And if they're holding him hostage, how many games is Joel going to play now that he's not chasing for MVP? I don't know. I feel like this team, if Harden was normal and had his money, I would smash the over on this. I would say that's easy. This team easily wins 50 games. But with the Harden situation, that's what makes it tricky and is making me thinking about taking the under.
So, in seasons where Joel Embiid has played more than 31 games for the 76ers since he's been drafted, they've hit 48 win pace every single year.
They have, like I said, they have a 53 win pace when he plays in the games.
Yeah. I'm doing like the little extra bit of research to say the only year they didn't go over, they didn't win 49 or more games was when they went 43-30 in the
short COVID
year. COVID shortened year, which is considered like their hardest one because like everybody was hurt and stuff.
And heading into the bubble, if I remember correctly, I think that they were on a 50 win pace.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like they're like so. Just even if it's just Joel Embiid and guys, that's a pretty low line. The East is bad. Maxey can still get better, honestly. Like,
yeah.
If Maxey's not on the team, it's because you traded for a better guy. So I don't know. I feel pretty comfortable with the over here, to be totally honest. Like, even if Harden holds out and doesn't play, like this is still a team that's pretty good, like they're probably not a serious playoff threat until they figure out another thing. But they've got they still have Joel Embiid. They still have the reigning MVP, like it or not, a guy who is essentially automatically 49 wins to 50 wins, just having him on your team, no matter what. Like they've had some bad teams around Joel Embiid in the past. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough for me to say. I'll go over.
Mhm.
I just can't see unless they're really careful with Joel and they're like, you're playing 50 games this year and
Mhm.
we're gonna completely save you, which I don't see Nick Nurse doing.
Mhm.
I think that they are going to be a little bit more lenient with like, I think they'll let him rest more than they did last year. So he might play 55, 60 games, but I don't know. Like, I think Maxi's going to be better. I just, the Harden situation, like, what if Harden comes out and just throws the first 5 games of the season and they
Mhm.
go 0-5 because he's literally just dribbling the ball off his foot?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't know. I just like Philly. I know it's like trendy right now to like hate on Philly and like Embiid's out the door and like oh Harden, this thing is such a mess and everything like that. But like at the end of the day, Daryl Morey knows what he's doing. This team is always good in the regular season, like kind of no matter what.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I
I'll
think
go over, but I don't feel good about it.
Bill, I can almost guarantee will have it under
Oh,
here.
100%.
Though the line, you know what though? Bill might think about it though. Bill might go, that is really low. Like you know, like because
Yeah.
it is really low. 40.5 is really low. Like
Yeah.
um, you know, like but I don't know. I think Russillo, I don't know. They're both so pissed that they got Jedi mind tricked into voting
Yeah.
for
I think they're
Embiid.
both going to go under, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna
They got
say
a
this is
chance to hate on
sour
Harden
grapes.
during this section. They
Yes,
got a
yeah,
chance. They got a chance to relive the Celtic series. They
yeah.
got a chance to relitigate the Jokic versus Embiid thing. They get a
Mhm.
chance to talk about how old the team is. Like I kind of think that it's almost I feel pretty certain about them going lower here. But yeah,
Okay. All right. Next up, Phoenix Suns, 52.5.
wow. Okay, so you have the Suns, who obviously acquired Bradley Beal, that I keep forgetting about. Kevin Durant barely played for them last year, and then you have a bunch of veterans minimum guys that they acquired. Essentially, that's like their whole
I'll
team
run through them. Udoka as a BK,
as a bouquet.
as a
He was
bouquet.
a Celtic at one point. You should know that.
Yep. Bol, Keita Bates Diop, Drew Eubanks, Eric Gordon, Damian Lee, Chimezi Metu, Josh Okogie coming back, and Yuta Watanabe.
I mean, I certainly feel like any collection of those, like Yuta Watanabe, Damian Lee, Josh Okogie, sure, plug them in, regular season, fine rotation players, but it doesn't make me feel great when I'm running down these other teams and they have like 9 guys that I feel pretty good about. Like
Yeah,
Minnesota is a team that I think doesn't have the top end talent, at least yet, that the Suns do, but they have like 9 guys that I'm like, oh no, these are NBA players. And the Suns have like 4 that I feel really good about, and then 5 guys that I'm like, I don't know.
if the Raptors ever do the fire sale, the like Jakob Pertl and whatever and Gary Trent Jr. for DeAndre Ayton is going to hit like
That
that
actually makes sense.
notification. That notification is just going to hit like crazy. I think that they're going to need to do something like that with Ayton. You know, like that's the obvious move here is turning Ayton into something more viable. Because like
I just don't think they're going to trade him in season though.
you don't think so?
No, I just think that they'll trade him. They'll wait a year and trade him until his value is somewhat back up, and he has less time on his contract.
I've got bad news about that. I don't know if that's happening.
It might
Like,
not.
because like if he's the fourth man on this team, like how's he going to show value? Like, yeah,
Yeah,
like all it takes is another double XP weekend on Call of Duty, and he's right back in the at the bottom of it. I mean, I don't KD. You can almost pencil KD in for 20 games missed a year. Brad Beal has not been Mr. Durable during his
Devin
time.
Booker even missed like 25 games last year, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that was why they were with it. I mean, they need 53 wins to hit the over, and last year they were 45 and 37. So we're talking about 8 games better. So this is almost the opposite of
The opposite of what we were doing. 64 games. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is probably more of like their median, but I don't know. The West is just better. And I don't think this is a team that is primed to punt on the regular season. You know what I'm saying? Like there's going to be a lot of Yuta Watanabe. There's going to be a lot of Josh Okogie, like in the regular season for this team. I think I'm going to go under on the Phoenix Suns here.
I might go under too. I think they're going to win like 50 games and care more about the playoffs because especially because of Kevin Durant. Like I think Durant, they'll be very cautious with him. I think that they'll be very cautious with Beal.
Also in the West, 50 games like might get you like the 3 seed.
Yeah,
like,
I mean it's super competitive.
Will have 46. Like I think there's going to be a ton of teams with like 46 wins. So like it won't be the end of the world to have like a 50 win, team. Like
then again, we could be talking about like Devin Booker winning MVP next year as well. And like if Devin Booker is the MVP of the league, it probably changes the calculus here a little bit.
Yeah, but I think if for Devin Booker to win MVP, Kevin Durant would have to get hurt. If Kevin Durant's hurt, they're probably worse than this.
Sure.
So I don't know. There's a little bit of over under. I don't know what Bill and Russillo are going to do here.
Yeah, I mean they don't have Chris Paul anymore, so Russillo's not like married to them anymore. Like he doesn't have to be. I feel like they're going to talk a lot about Ayton, like, and there's going to be like a lot of like the general boomerisms that we hear about, like him not being committed enough, him not like kind of what you talked about earlier with like if he's the fourth guy, what does your team look like? We've seen him be kind of the third guy there, and now he's the fourth guy. And the funny thing is, it's not even like Bradley Beal is the one thing I will say is that all of Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant are all above average to good passers, but they don't have the one guy like Chris Paul that's like the high leverage playmaker type.
Yeah, exactly.
To get Ayton involved in the same way. Like those guys, as passable as they are as passers, they're looking to get their own shots first. Like that's what they're gonna do, and then Ayton probably ends up being. I think that they're going to be. I do think that it's possible that the Bills' love of Kevin Durant and they kind of both hate Beal though.
Yeah,
Beal's love of Durant and the Booker recency bias of the playoffs could make them be really high on them.
Bill overcompensates on Booker now, where he's become a huge Booker guy after like shitting on him for like not going to like FIBA or
the World Cup in 2019.
Yeah, right.
Devin Booker, you've never played a meaningful game in your life.
Yeah.
And then the next year he was in like the NBA finals.
Yeah, exactly. So, man, I gotta say, not a lot of KOCWs, but that was a pretty big KOCW to like.
Oh, he clung on to Booker being really good from very young. Even when like I remember there was a Ben Taylor video after Booker's second or third year in the league, and it was like, can Devin Booker be an all-star? And even Ben Taylor was like, he can be, but he might not be. Like he might just be he might just be a really talented scorer that never makes all-star teams. And now he's a top 10 player. So
yeah, like unequivocally, like he's probably like more like 7 or 8 than he is like 9 or 10. Like so. I'm going under. I think I'm leaning Bill and Russillo are going to go under, despite Ishbia being.
Ishbia,
yeah. I'm leaning under for Bill and Russillo both. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I'll go with that. That sounds good to me.
Okay, because that's like a perfectly 50-50 one, but I'm also counting through, and they don't have that many. Where do you come down on this, Joe? What are you thinking?
I said under.
Oh, you said under. Okay.
Yeah, so we're all going to go under.
All under. Okay. It is a really high line for the West and everything. Now, one of the ones I'm more interested in because it's sort of like the negative version of the. Oh wait. No odds for the Portland Trailblazers.
They just didn't give odds because they don't know what's going to happen with Dame.
Yeah.
Honestly, a smart move.
Yeah.
It's impossible to predict because if Dame plays, they could win 35 games. And if Dame doesn't play, they could win 15.
I'm just going to say for the record, just so I have my own.
We don't have another completely blank one.
Yeah, so we don't have another completely blank one. I'm gonna put the Blazers. I'm personally gonna put the Blazers at 25 wins myself. I'm just gonna
Okay.
write that in the spot. I don't know if you want to bother taking
Sure.
a
That's
guess,
fine.
but
Yeah.
yeah.
I'll say they win. Yeah. I'll say they win 28 games.
Okay. There we go. And then we'll just have to we'll have to figure it out. They'll be like the Wizards from last year, only we remembered them.
Yeah. Well, I do want to ask you before you move on. Who
Mhm.
we said the Pelicans should trade for him.
Mhm.
Who's the team that Bill says they should just swoop in and steal him from Miami? Because he wants to have a team swoop in and steal him from Miami because he doesn't want Dame to go to Miami.
Probably he'll. I know he'll bring up Philly.
He'll definitely bring up the Sixers. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why aren't they just trading Tyrese Maxey?
What am I not understanding about this?
Honestly,
He'll
he
probably
might have
bring
a
up.
point.
He'll
Fake Bill might have a point here.
yeah. Fake Bill might have a point. I think he'll bring up the Wolves.
Oh, Wolves. Yeah. I think we talked about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He loves to bring up the Wolves. Yeah.
The Nets are kind of a gimme.
Yeah.
I think his one is I think he's gonna try and say the Cavs.
For Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, with Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen. Who says no?
Sending Donovan Mitchell to another team at least, but he wouldn't say that. He would just say challenge trade.
Challenge. Okay, yeah.
He loves a good challenge trade.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Just Donovan Mitchell for Damian Lillard.
Yeah. Just because he loves trading Trey, he would do the Hawks or.
Oh yeah, he does that every time.
Yeah, like that
honestly. I have my team. I think he's gonna say Orlando.
That's a good one. I bet you're right.
They have their own picks. They're actually pick positive because they have a Denver pick and a Chicago. No, they're done with the Chicago picks, but they have a Denver pick that's a few years out. They could say, I don't know, just throw in the contract of Fultz and.
Can I say something? I kind of agree with that, to be honest.
I don't hate that idea.
Yeah, like Cole, and I would kind of like to. I would much rather have like Cole Anthony and who are the other like young guys who would be in that trade? Like
Jet Howard or something.
Yeah, Jet
Howard.
Howard.
The problem with every Blazers trade is that every good young player that is tradable is a guard. And they have 3 guard prospects.
You trade Simmons after that. That's pretty easy. You just trade Simmons again later on. Like Simmons is not long for the
they don't want him anyway, apparently. So
but and Simmons could have like value on a certain like a Miami team that doesn't get well, no, they already have Tyler Hero, but a team like that's got like a some sort of defensive something. But those are all good picks, I think.
Yeah.
Moving on. This one's gonna hurt my heart. The Sacramento Kings. 44.5. Honestly, lower than I thought it was going to be, but
the Kings are so tough because I feel like they're just going to have an elite offense again, but it's just the conference is so good. They were healthy. They had crazy health luck last year to the playoffs.
Insane health luck. Like
they're due for a regression. But the offense is still going to be really good. It's just I just don't trust the defense at all, and then the health has to regress at some point.
This is the team that jumps off the page as like a regression team.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go lower on
they might. No disrespect, but I would love to be wrong about this because I love the beautiful Sacramento Kings, but they could like seriously be like 38 and whatever that number ends up being. So
yeah,
I'm going under. You're going under. Do we think Bill and Russillo join us on this under?
Yeah, I do think so. Although Bill might victory lap about Sabonis because he was right about Sabonis being really good.
And they still lost that trade badly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he also loves Halliburton, so he says it's a win-win.
Both sides, yeah.
It feels like a win-win right now, but I'm still in the I have a 22-year-old that's going to make 10 all-NBA teams.
It's the George Hill Kawhi Leonard trade again.
Yeah, over time.
Yeah,
it's going to look really bad.
House never loses.
Sabonis is better than George Hill, but yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right, one of the lines I was most interested in.
Yep.
San Antonio Spurs, 28.5.
I have no idea what to do with this.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's interesting. I thought this was gonna be too high. Like if I saw this like in the mid 30s, I was gonna
Yeah.
slam the under. But
If
like,
Wemby came in and dominated summer league, I might be like, let's go higher. Let's go over. But because he was like not that great, and I think that there might be some severe growing pains in his rookie year, even though I thought that he could have been an all-star candidate pre-draft as a rookie. I don't know. I just am like, I still think that they're like 2 years away from being like competitive. So
it's killing me that their line is 3 wins lower than the Rockets. Is like very funny. It's like Fred VanVleet and Dylan Brooks are more important.
Didn't move the needle that much. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, apparently.
Yeah. I'm gonna go under. I think that line's about right. By the way, I think they're gonna be a little bit better, but still pretty bad.
I'm gonna go under too.
Yeah. There's a strong chance Victor Wembanyama like down the stretch. Oh my god, he's General Soreness. Good God, is that General Soreness's music? Like,
yeah, exactly.
They might go back for Yoda meme, going back for more #1 draft pick.
They're double dipping on a terrible draft next year.
Yes. Bill and Russillo. I don't know. Bill might get a little too ahead of his skis on Wemby and go over.
He could, yeah. I mean, was in on him being like, this is like watching Kareem as a prospect, like level shit when he saw him. So it's possible he says from the jump he could be over. But I think that Bill's going to go over and Russillo's going to go under. Now that you say it.
Okay. I think that's good.
But I do think Bill's going to be like, Russillo's going to be like, I really like a lot of their young guys. So they always love to talk about Jeremy Sohan.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's.
They love to talk about he's always just making plays. He's always just like doing the right thing.
Yeah. Jeremy Sohan is Drew Holiday. Incoming Drew Holiday and Russillo's mind. I love that he's I find like when Bill has guys, it's like I'm definitely charmed by it, but I'm really charmed by it when Russillo has guys because Russillo's got such a gruff heart. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
like if somebody's won over Russillo, because it goes back to college for Jeremy Sohan. Like so, it's like,
and also with Russillo, he might be even more so name some guys than us.
Yeah,
like he loves to name some guys.
Yeah,
he'll just randomly be like, "Remember Shane Larkin?"
yeah.
We're like, yes, Russillo.
We do. We definitely do, man.
He'll bring up some. He'll bring up some random. He'll bring up some random Red Sox pitcher from like 1994.
Yeah.
He'll be like, "You remember Bill Lafferty?" And I'm like, who the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah. What does that mean?
He'll be like, oh, he saved the Sox season back in '87. I'm like, all right, dude, we're talking about modern basketball right now.
Oh man, it's gonna. I don't know. Truly, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
This is our other highlight of the podcast here. We're calling this pick the please double check the VPNs and make sure that we're not able to be tracked. We're in an undisclosed location. This is our Toronto Raptors line.
Oh boy,
36.5 wins for the Toronto Raptors. Last year, our beautiful Toronto Raptors, after making a huge trade in season for Jakob Poeltl, got to 41-41. They've lost Fred VanVleet.
They've added Dennis Schroeder, international superstar, gold medal winner.
Mm-hmm. They've they still have 3 power forwards in their starting.
Yeah, Scotty Barnes will be the shooting guard, or OG Anunoby.
Oh, God, I've never seen a team misplay their hand so bad. I mean,
they could trade Pascal Siakam during the season as well. They won't, but they could.
I think they might, to be honest. I think it's more likely they trade Pascal than eat shit on OG Anunoby. because they're not going to get the value for OG Anunoby. That
Yeah, because then they'll be looking for the next decade for OG Anunoby as opposed to Pascal Siakam, who's made 2 All-Star teams or 3 All-Star teams, I think.
Well, speaking of All-Star teams, I mean, they've got real urgency here because 10-time All-Star Scotty Barnes is on the roster. He's going to make 10 All-Star teams. He's going to make 10.
I know. He's just got to. This will be the first, and then he'll make 9 in a row after that.
Look, there's a reason when Kevin Durant was on the trade block, I brought up the Toronto Raptors so much.
This is crazy, dude.
Zach is such a pervert. God, like not even reading the temperature, the balls to be like, well, they could get Giannis. It's like what? So they're
sure
power forward, like I don't like on top of everything else, like it's
also
all power forward team. Like
I just want to bring this up. If the Bucks ever were bold enough to put Giannis on the trade block a year from now,
yeah, it's not going to be for a fucking Raptors package.
No,
it's all the OKC picks that
or Miami can literally just offer Bam Adebayo and immediately give the best player, and they would, and Pat Riley would do that.
Yes,
it's Pat Riley.
Yes,
like there's so many guys that would be offered for Giannis if it became available. Zion would be on the table. Like the Raptors have no fucking shot in the world, and if they did, they'd have Giannis and nobody left on their team afterwards.
Bodner confirmed, by the way, that Kelly Oubre's contract was.
Bud just sent me the video of you telling me, and then it just zooms in on my face, and I'm like.
It's like a full 3 seconds of silence. I thought it was frozen.
I thought you were fucking with me because I've been talking about how much I hate watching Kelly Oubre play.
No.
I might have to just go full ball, don't stop it, become a Kelly Oubre guy now.
Yeah.
Well, he's on my team, so.
Ryan quote tweeted the Bodner one and said Chiodo said it was a max.
So Tobias Harris's dad again. Toriel Harris getting another bag for one of his clients. Oh, Jesus Christ, man.
Anyway, Raptors, 36.5. They somehow went 500 last year.
I can't believe they were even that good.
Yeah, that is not. I'm going to be honest. I was surprised when I looked at the standings and saw that they somehow won.
You said 36.5 is the.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of tough for me. Right. Yeah, it's about the range that I think they're going to win. Yeah, I don't know. I think that they're good. If they trade Pascal Siakam, it's going to be under.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Normally, I would say they're going to be worse than that because they're going to trade all their guys and tank because that's obviously what you should do, obviously. However, this is the Toronto Raptors we're talking about. They're going to try and zig when they zag. Okay, here's the other thing. No Nick Nurse try hard in there to play their guys
40 minutes a game,
to inflate their record.
Yeah.
Like this new guy might, let go of the rope a little bit, play the young guys. And if they play the young guys, they're going to be worse than 500.
Sure.
So,
yeah. And I watched a clip of Grady Dick at the Rico Hines run getting cooked by Jaden Springer like 5 times.
Oh, no.
And I'm just genuinely concerned about that because they did get Jalen McDaniels. He's such a sicko, dude. He's such a sick. They got Dennis Schroeder and Jalen McDaniels, the other McDaniels, to recruit Jaden McDaniels in 6 years when he's a free agent.
Is there a chance Otto Porter could be healthy? And
no, I think he's done, dude.
Is he done? Okay.
I honestly don't even know what happened. Did he tear his ACL? Hold on. He's cooked, dude.
Is he done? Okay.
I mean, he played 8 games last year, and it was the first time in forever. Raptors trade rumor. NBA executive says nobody wants Otto Porter Jr. owed $6 million. I mean, I could see them potentially waiving him at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, man, dude.
I don't think he tore his ACL, but I think that he's just cooked.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm
just gonna go. Look, I'm going under.
Yeah,
but I'm basing it on the fact that I think that their defense is going to be really good next year. I actually think their defense is they have a real rim protector. They have switchable guys. They're going to cause a ton of turnovers again. They're going to do that whole thing, but their offense is going to be pretty dreadful.
The East is bad though. I hate that I'm going to do this. I might go over here, to be honest.
All right, tell me why you're going over.
Because I think Masai is a sicko who's not going to trade any of these guys. And like they were pretty good after they got Pirtle last year. They were above 500. You know, Dick does give them at least a little bit of like floor spacing.
Sure.
They got Gary Trent back somehow, which was very weird, which I wasn't like really expecting. God, it's just gonna be so gross though. They're gonna be in these games that are like 65. 50.
All right, you know what? I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over as well. I'll change.
You're changing, okay?
I'll change to over. It's not that many games. It's not that many, and like they still have a lot of really talented players.
But the thing is, like Siakam, like I do think Scotty Barnes is going to be better than he was last year. Like I think he'll probably be like not. Obviously, I make fun of the 10-time All. He's not going to be like great, you know what I'm saying? But like he'll settle into like a healthy medium where he's like okay, like pretty good. I think if they trade Pascal, you know, like
do they also trade Jakob Poeltl if they trade Pascal? Because that's why Poeltl was like he's boys with Siakam. They have blow up potential. At some point, Masai has to pivot. He has to. He either does or the whole team goes into the shitter.
But the thing is, I can't believe they did that last year. Like that was some real galaxy brain shit. Like I can't believe that they were like, all right, I just won't do it. But
everything tells me that if that is the case, then he might do it again.
Yeah, he really is. He's the goofy meme. I'll fucking do it again. like really, he might. Like, because I think that's Masai's reasoning is like everyone will think it's empty threats unless you actually do it. So you need to like. So it's like it's kind of like the crazy guy at the party who says, "I'm going to stab my hand." It's like, no, you're not. That you have to stab your hand once. And like, do they have to see you stab your hand again a second time? Maybe. Like, I don't know. But I also always bet against Raptors slop, and this is a bet against Raptors slop.
Okay. All right. So we'll both go over then.
Yeah.
One thing I just want to bring up a year ago around this time, Bill did a podcast with Zach Lowe where they were just like, "Are we sure?" was the thing. I think was the concept, and he did. Are we sure the Toronto Raptors aren't the 1 seed in the Eastern Conference? And then they were the 9 seed and they lost in the play to the Chicago Bulls.
I don't want to give Bud like too much work, but Bud needs to pull our reactions from that because
it was so good.
At the time we were going insane. We were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" Like I got in huge this time last year. I was in hell with Raptors fans in my replies.
Yeah.
I should go back. I don't really want to like be that mean, but like if you want to go back like a year, if you want to like search from NBA Baby Secret Raptors and check some of the quote tweets, there's some really good shit in there.
Yeah, people were very mad at you, and then they were completely on board with you halfway through the season. Yeah. Everything you said, they were like, wait, no, yeah.
Oh no. Our front office is crazy for doing this. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know what Bill and Russillo are going to do with this, to be honest, because it is a pretty good line. Like, Bill, I think, is probably going to be like, this isn't over. They had the year from hell last year, and they still beat this by 5 games. What am I missing? What am I missing, Russillo?
Yeah. That's actually, how much will they value Fred VanVleet, though? I kind of think through this whole process, Fred VanVleet might have became a little bit overrated, which got him that crazy bag. But then again, like, who are they running their offense through? Pascal Siakam and Scotty Barnes. OG Anunoby is going to get a lot more on-ball opportunities and like has never proven to be that guy. I don't know. Their offense is going to be gross. I think their defense is going to be very, very good, though.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, for sure.
They were going to have like a top 5 defense, probably.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, well, that's why they had such an inflated thing last year was they were able to run.
Yeah, but their defense was really bad before they traded for Poeltl. It was good after they traded for Poeltl, but they had
I meant like 2 years ago, like when they were good, like when they made the playoffs.
Sure.
Because they were like they were like causing turnovers at like an insane rate. Like
they had like the 13th best offense and like the worst half court offense because they were just creating so many turnovers and getting runouts.
Yeah. And I don't know what that looks like. Again, the other thing here is that Nick Nurse was a sicko who went Tom Thibodeau mode like the last 2 years. That's the only other thing with the under is he going to play the young guys?
We'll see.
In minutes. So
they did hire a developmental coach.
Do we think Bill over Russillo under, or what do we?
That sounds about right, but I feel like we've done that like 5 times.
Yeah, we definitely have, but who cares? We're trusting our guys.
Let's just do it. I think we both go over with them, actually. I think they're both good. I think that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Joining us on the over. Wow. That is a 4 over on the Raptors.
It's low. It's low, though.
It's low, yeah.
Yeah.
It is pretty low. The East sucks, man. Speaking of,
we have 2 teams left.
We have 2 teams left. One team this time last year, because we forgot the last team. The Utah Jazz, 35.5 wins.
I like the Utah Jazz's talent a lot. Like I like some of their young guys. I think they have like 12 NBA players, but they have no one that I trust pretty consistently. You said 35.5?
Yeah, and they were 37-45 last year.
I'm going to go under.
I'm going to join you there.
But I do think that I think their young guys are going to show a lot of promise, like Keontae George and Walker Kessler and Taylor Hendricks.
I think this is going to be like as young guys are growing into this, like Danny Ainge is going to be like clearing the decks like in front of them. Like I think the Jazz are going to be
Oh,
really active at the trade deadline. I think
Olynyk, Sexton, Lauri Markkanen possibly,
John Collins. All of these like good guys are going to be there. Lauri Markkanen, another guy, huge regression candidate. Again, talking about guys who just make a huge leap. Like it's, still probably be pretty good, but like probably not as good as last year. So like, Will Hardy's Linsanity Rover run is over. I'm making myself feel better about that.
He's also got ultimate job security, so he can kind of do whatever the fuck he wants, I feel like.
Right.
Like Ainge won't care. He'd prefer them to lose some games.
Yeah. I think Bill and Russillo are joining us on the under here, by the way.
Yeah. I think this is another regression candidate team.
Oops, I accidentally typed over the thing. Okay, so our last team, the Washington Football Wizards, are going to be 24.5. I believe the lowest line on the board. Yes, lowest line on the board by quite a bit. The only other ones in the same vicinity are Detroit and San Antonio are 28.5. So this is 24.5. Definitely the candidate for worst team in the NBA.
Yes.
But like
I think we all could agree because they're gonna want to be bad.
Yes.
Their best player is Jordan Poole.
That's rough, man.
Or Daniel Gafford. Oh no, they have Kuzma. They have Kuzma still.
They have Kuzma. Yeah, that's right. Who almost certainly will not be on the team after the trade deadline.
This will be the opportunity for when we get to the Washington Wizards. Bill will talk about how much talent there is in the NBA because look at their roster. He did this. He was trying to say that they're basically going to be like the Utah Jazz of this upcoming year, but the difference is that the Wizards want to be bad, and like the Jazz, they're finally committing to the tank. Like they're going to be bad. Like the Jazz, like Ainge was making moves at the deadline to make them worse. But like in the first half of the season, they had way more, I would say even way more talent than the Wizards currently have. And they also want to tank. And then they also have the fact that like, I think that they could have their own fire sale with Tyus Jones, Kyle Kuzma, Daniel Gafford. Like the only guy that I see for sure on this team in a few months is Bilal Coulibaly and probably Corey Kispert and Denny Avdia, just because you usually don't trade guys on their first contract.
Yeah. They will never trade Anthony Gill. How dare you?
But this will be the opportunity to Bill to be like, if you put this team in 2013, are they the 8th seed in the Eastern Conference? House. Wizards.
Can I call a shot here?
Yeah.
I think Bill is going to name drop Patrick Baldwin Jr. during the Wizards section. Call it a gut. He called Patrick Baldwin Jr. like his I trust talent.
Players. House, bring up the 2021 high school rankings again.
Yeah. Check it out. Patrick Baldwin Jr. is up there. I mean,
Number one. He was the number one recruit in the country.
and look, like I mean, the
Pedigree.
Warriors. There was no space for him on the Warriors. A team trying to win. I like this spot for him on the Wizards. You're a Wizards house. Patrick Baldwin Jr. Feel the magic. Like, I think he's
what's going to happen is he's going to say that, and then he's going to pull up a photo of Patrick Baldwin Jr. during the podcast, and he's going to say, "Oh man, he has Shamet face," and then he's going to realize Landry Shamet is also on the team. Double Shamet face, Russillo.
Shamet. I forgot Landry Shamet's on the team.
Yeah,
he could be a pain, dude.
They have so many fucking and like, but like to I was making fun of Bill for it, but like this is the worst team in the league, and like their seventh man would have been in like a starting lineup 10 years ago on a good team.
Dog. Danilo Gallinari might be their 11th man.
Mike Muscala, like they're all just like the definition of rotation players. DeLon Wright.
I think of them being this like the worst team in the league, and they are. But I'm like genuinely kind of shocked at how many NBA players are on their team. Like it is like DeLon. I kind of like DeLon Wright, to be honest. Like I still haven't like quit on.
Are they going to be accidentally good? Is what I just made fun of Bill for, and now we're like, oh shit, are they going to accidentally win too many games?
They won't. No, they won't. But this is just like
the line's so low though.
Yeah, this is why like the league like needs expansion. What I'm learning though is we might see less just guys, because in the past, like some contenders have just wanted like NBA talent because they just don't have enough NBA talent, so they'll just take guys like DeLon Wright or Landry Shamet or someone like that. I don't know if that's gonna happen as much anymore because a lot of teams are really deep. Like the Suns aren't deep.
I was gonna say the Suns might get some of these players at the deadline that they didn't already have, like Landry Shamet.
Yeah. Like they might be able to just like play the buyout market with like some of these guys. You know, like is there another thin team? Like
it's not a lot.
Yeah, like there's not really. I mean,
like of the better teams, I was like, the Sixers are kind of weak, and I still am like I don't know, like Patrick Beverly, like fucking Paul Reed, like Kelly Oubre, like, they're all NBA players.
Yeah, like I don't know, like that's sort of an interesting thing I've got from like doing this exercise is like there's not a lot of like bad players in NBA rotations right now.
No.
Jordan Poole is probably the worst player in an NBA rotation.
The worst best player.
Yeah. God damn.
Or at least top 2 or 3 on his own team.
Wow. I think the Wizards are going to go under here just because like they're going to be overwhelmed every night. They're going to want to lose on purpose. Jordan Poole is going to be the tank commander.
A lot of Bilal Coulibaly. A lot of Bilal Coulibaly house.
Yeah. Who knows? He might be good. Who knows?
Maybe, but he's also 19. He just turned 19.
Johnny Davis?
Johnny Davis resurrection flow.
Yeah. Johnny Davis is back. I'm just penciling in Bill and Russillo for the others.
I think that's pretty. I could see Bill going over, but I also think that we just need to continue with the trend here of us all agreeing here.
Yeah.
All right. So, do you want to run down our over unders, because I don't really care about Bill and Russillo.
Okay. Atlanta 41.5. You under, me over. Boston 54.5. We're both over. I locked that. Brooklyn 37.5. We both went under. Charlotte 30.5. We both went over. Interesting.
I went over. I thought that you went under, but I might have convinced you.
Yeah, I think you did convince me because I think
I might want to change that to under, but we'll see.
Okay. Chicago 37.5. We both went under. I might lock that. Well, no, but the East is bad. I don't know. Cleveland 50.5. You locked the over. I took the over very slightly. I'm kind of skeptical on that one, to be honest. Mavs 44.5. You went over. I went under. Denver 52.5. We both went over. I locked it. Detroit 28.5. You went under. I went under and locked it. Golden State 48.5. You went over. I went under. Houston 31.5. We both went under. Pacers, you went over 38.5 for the Pacers. You went over and locked it. I just went over. Clippers 46.5. We both went under. Lakers 48.5. You went over because you're a fool. I went under.
I'm changing that, by the way. I'm changing the Lakers to under.
Let's go. Welcome to the team. Welcome to God. You're walking.
I can't have that many West teams over. I have so many West teams over.
That's right. You're so right for that one. Grizzlies 46.5 over. We both went over. I locked that one. That's right, Marcus Smart. Let's go. You and me, buddy.
You're unbelievable.
Miami 48.5. We both went under. Milwaukee 53.5. You went under. I went over. Minnesota 44.5. Over for both of us. New Orleans for 44.5. You went under. I went over. I might have too many overs here. New York 44.5. We both went over. OKC 44.5. You went over and locked it. I just went over. Orlando 36.5. We both went over. I locked that one. Philadelphia 48.5. We both went over. Suns 52.5. We both went under. Portland, no line, but you said 28 wins. I said 25 wins. Sacramento, 44.5. We both went under. San Antonio, 28.5. We both went under. Raptors, 36.5. We both went over. Utah, 35.5. We both went under. And Wizards, 24.5. We both went under.
Change the Blazers wins to 23 for me.
Okay, he's back.
I don't feel the more we talk about it, the more I'm like they just have potential. Maybe Dame plays the season and then they're better, but like if they do trade Dame, then they have potential to be the worst team in the West.
Yeah, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Oh no, I went perfectly. I went 15 overs, 15 unders.
Okay, so, how many did I do with the over under? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this is great podcasting.
People 7, 8. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. All right, you had 14 overs and 16 under.
Okay.
So that's close enough. That's pretty good. Yeah.
I'm actually going to backtrack here. The more time I had to think about it, Celtics Matt convinced me in the group DM earlier. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go under on Charlotte. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to go over on Houston.
Okay. I can't believe you're letting Celtics Matt change your mind on this.
This is why I think the more I thought about it, the more I thought about how much of a shit show Charlotte has the potential to be.
Okay.
Because Charlotte is always a shit show.
That's true.
And they've added Brandon Miller to the mix and Miles Bridges to the mix. Mm-hmm. And I want to say about Houston, I think that Raphael Stone could be very desperate to save his job and make a trade in like December that is like they get like a good player. And it helps them a lot. Like if Jeremy Grant gets traded or whoever, like someone like that, DeAndre Ayton or whatever, like a good enough player to get them to 32 wins.
What are they trading?
They have picks. They have all of the Nets picks. They have things to trade.
I guess they have Nets picks.
They technically could hold. This is gross to say, but they're already talking about exploring Kevin Porter Jr. trades. That's $16 million in salary. Like it's gross to me, and I don't think they should do it. But yeah. I'm just saying, like, he's so desperate to save his job. Yeah. Like, them getting 30 wins is literally he loses his job or he keeps his job.
I don't think their young players are going to have – I don't think their young players are going to get a return where they can spin trading them. Like
it's definitely possible.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't trade Jalen Green for Jeremy Grant. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, even though I think that's a fine trade because I'm not a Jalen Green guy. You know, like, so – Şengün, you can't trade Şengün for like these like.
It's possible, but it's also possible that they just need to get enough talent to win 32 games. Mm-hmm. I think they could get there.
Okay, I'm because I'm ethical. I'm not gonna change anything. So
okay, keep it in place.
Yeah,
if I come back to regret those, then that's on Celtics Matt.
I was just gonna say I do love the idea of of you getting those both completely wrong and taking L's.
It's fine. It's fine. All right. That's where we're gonna end it. I can't wait to post this reaction video. Thank you. Shout out to Bud for making a great video. And I cannot believe Kelly Oubre is a Sixer.
And I can't believe we did 4 hours and 18 minutes.
Let's go.
Fucking perverts, man. We're such perverts. It's nasty. Nasty business.
All right. Peace. Sign up for the Patreon. Bye.